Welcome back to your Emotional Support Wrestling podcast with Madge and Emmy. I'm your host, Madge, and this is my co host, Emmy.
Hello!
Sometimes you need emotional support for your emotional support combat sport, and that's where we've got you covered. So, we're going to go ahead and do a bit of a road so far because for the past couple months, every time we scheduled time to record, one of us got real sick. It was like
It's very true.
clockwork. Yeah. So, since we last recorded, Full Gear has happened. We have Emmy and I have very differing opinions on how that pay-per-view went. I'm sure you all remember my tweets. Yeah.
Yeah, you were
So
pretty upset.
I I kinda when I was okay, so basically we had not only the greatest Texas death match, we had the match of the year with uh, Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Adam Page, which is the greatest match I've ever seen live and probably will be for a long, long time. But
Yeah.
Hangman did not win that match. Swerve hung the Hangman. And when that happened, I had to do little grounding techniques in my seat and say, "Keep your shoes on," as a little mantra. So I bent down to take off a shoe, and I was like, "Don't do it. Don't do
Complete
it."
opposite Tony Storm reaction.
Holding myself back from throwing the shoe. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my god. That was such a good match.
That was actually just it was the most insane match I've ever witnessed, and I witnessed the first Anarchy in the Arena match. Like, I got the same feeling and more when Eddie Kingston walked down the ramp carrying gasoline covered in blood, and then seeing Hangman Adam Page drink Swerve Strickland's blood and then spit it back out like Triple H. Never felt anything like that. Still haven't. Never will.
For all that you say about how unlucky you get at like these shows that you end up going to live, you sure do get the most absolutely feral moments happen in front of you.
That's true. It's almost like a consolation prize because it's like you, I have not gone to a pay-per-view and left without being in tears for bad reasons. But I did get to see some crazy shit.
About the horniest things you will ever see in wrestling. You've seen them live with your eyeballs.
Yeah. Moments that'll make you want to fall to your knees. Like just like your legs can't carry you anymore. It's too amazing. Yeah, like Anarchy in the Arena, Double or Nothing. Shibata's return at Forbidden Door, number 1. That was a moment in time where I couldn't breathe. It was like, I cannot believe this is happening to me right now. I can't believe I'm witnessing this. Um,
That
and
was a great
then yeah, it was fantastic. And then Full Gear, the blood spitting. Every single spot that happened in that match was it just kept compounding and compounding until eventually I was like, "I can't I need to leave. Like, I'm going to combust. I'm going to set myself on fire."
So, I told you this a couple hours ago, but I watched Hangman versus Moxley, and I watched Swerve versus Hangman, both of the Texas Death matches, back to back, because I'm not gonna lie, I spent a great deal of the Hangman Swerve match just absolutely sweating and like looking away because I couldn't deal with what was happening in front of me. So I couldn't actually remember most of the match. Like my brain has completely blacked it out. So watching it over again and like actually paying attention, like completely fully no phone. It made me crazy. And it's insane how it went to a completely different level the moment that he like baseball slid underneath Swerve's bleeding forehead and drank that blood, and then the crowd realizes what he's done, and then everybody starts absolutely losing it, and then you get that far shot of him on getting up on the turnbuckle and just like showing everybody like what he's done. It is so disgustingly like amazing what he did. Like it literally made the match go from like a 4 to a 5 like immediately. It was like, "What are you doing? You crazy freak. What have you done? You're
I
insane."
I think if I were if I were next to a person, like if it were you and me in that crowd and we were sitting next to each other or standing next to each other because there wasn't a soul in that arena that was sitting. If we
Right.
were standing next to each other and that happened, I would have turned you around and screamed directly into your face and shook you by the shoulders.
Bro, that's
Like,
literally what I was going to say. I would have slapped you. I would have been like, "Match. Match."
digging my neck, I would have grabbed you by just the neck, just throttle you because that's exactly how that made me feel. Because I remember, like I screamed so loud. I might have cried. I don't remember if I did or did not because I was so dialed into the fact that Hangman just drank a man's blood, and it
Yeah.
was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen in my life.
Yeah. And after seeing this again and being able to kind of like, you know, a little bit groundedly pay attention to everything that was happening and not have like a crazy moment of my own and just watching the crowd, it's everybody had the same feeling. Everybody had the same feeling. I'm sorry. You don't like it's it's like
Oh,
I said,
absolutely.
it's just it amped it up 1,000. And it's oh my
I
god,
active
I can't.
I actively felt everybody else suddenly just it's like they felt like an electric shock, like they got hit with a cattle prod.
Yeah. It was a great moment. And that one will as Mr. Nigel McGuinness would say, that is going to go down in the annals of wrestling history
Oh.
as one of the
So it's
greatest
his
moments.
fault. So he's the one who's been saying it.
Yeah, it's him. Him and Excalibur both say that often. Like that's a phrase that they like to use. Um, the only other thing that I truly noticed during this rewatch of that match specifically is how absolutely crazy it made me because you can see Hangman try to get up in that last second that he has between 9 and 10. You can see him pick up his shoulders. You can see his hands struggle to pick himself up, and he drops like a brick, like just completely. He just falls and he can't get up. And then what's his name? Paul Turner, you know, counts to 10 and says to ring the bell, and I almost cried. I almost cried. I was like, "Oh my god." Now I understand why you were so upset because I
Yeah.
didn't see that the first time. It was it was so
Genuinely, I was
sad.
sitting there, I was watching him like a hawk. I'm like, I need you to move a single solitary inch. Please. Please do not let it end. Please do not lose this. Please, I can't go 3 for 3.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Can't have shit in this house.
I mean, it's Swerve's house, so.
It's my house. I paid for this.
I did see Ken Jeong there. Literally, once once it changes the angle, and you see
Yeah.
Hangman on the floor, you see Ken Jeong like right behind him watching
Yeah, I
the
only
match.
I only saw that he was there after, like, seeing clips of other matches and stuff. I'm like, "When did you get here?" 'Cause I had no clue he was there at all.
Yeah, he was right there. He was on the hard cam side, next to, I'm assuming where the bell, where the people who hit the bell were, like
Ah,
right near that table.
okay.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was right
wasn't
there. I
paying
think he was
attention to
like,
that.
oh yeah, obviously, but yeah, very very funny. Crazy to me that that man got to watch my favorite person ever just get hung.
It should have been me. Take me instead. Leave the blonde alone. He wouldn't have allowed that. I'm just kidding. The last thing Hangman would ever allow to happen to anybody else is to be hung. Like, he would never do that.
The irony of me immediately messaging you and shouting reparations and you going, no,
Not like this.
absolutely not.
It's like, you know what it's like the meme of Wesley Snipes crying and holding a gun, and it's like when the race war starts and you have to go after your favorite white boy. That's exactly how I felt. I'm like, "No, please. It can't end like this."
Yeah.
Yeah. I think about the spot where I believe it was Hangman who got pile driven onto the, barrier. Like, I think about that, like, a
Yeah,
lot. I
I didn't even realize that happened until I
that
watched
hap
it again.
I remember that happening because it was quite close to me. Like, it was on my side where I was.
Mhm.
It was just insane. I'm like, first of all, to be able to balance on that thin barricade and hold a 230 some odd pound man and pile drive him safely to where his neck is not broken and your body is not broken, fantastic. No notes.
Yeah,
Y'all are the
Swerve,
best to ever
like,
do it.
you're amazing.
He's so very good.
It was directly on his head, like, right in the middle, and that
Oh,
barricade is what, an inch thick?
eh,
Inch and a half?
it's maybe 2 or 3.
But it is not very,
Oh, wait, do you mean in thickness or in width?
the thickness, like, just,
Oh, yeah, an inch.
yeah, it's like, and he got him right down center on his head.
Absolutely no notes. I don't understand. I There is something to be said about analyzing really good wrestling and finding just no holes to poke.
There is one thing I can say about this match.
Mm.
It felt a little too long. Just a little bit. Because watching it the second time around, it made me go right about the point where they hit the end. In my head, I was thinking, what's going on? We need to wrap this up.
I was
And
thinking, I
it
was
started to
like,
wrap up.
yeah, I was like, "Oh, we're going Kenny Omega Classic here, huh? 40 minutes?"
Mm. Yeah, I wouldn't say it was that long, but it
It
was
wasn't 40.
definitely, it was definitely a little bit longer in the Hangman versus Mox match. That one was about 25, and I think
I
this one
think
went
this
30.
one was I think it was 30 or between 30 35 minutes. It was pretty long. It was really good, though. I feel like they had a lot of because it was so long, I think they wanted to make sure they had enough spots sprinkled in there to make sure that people were engaged throughout every stage of the match.
Yeah. There were definitely some moments where you could tell that they hovered on Hangman so that Swerve could pull things out.
Yeah.
Little stuff like that, but that's to be expected. But it did kind of slow things down a little bit for me in places that kind of seemed a little bit odd, but otherwise, like, no notes. I mean, you only notice that the second time around. You don't
Yeah.
notice it when it's happening because it's so crazy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have to call that match of the year. I really do.
yeah. So, Sarah from Waffly Bollocks, there's your match of the year. I did watch the Hangman versus Moxley match again just to double check because in my head I definitely thought that the more memorable was Hangman versus Moxley, but only because I delved into it making gifts way more than I did this other one because by the end of the year I was just completely like I don't want to make gifts anymore. Like I barely wanted to. So that match is more fresh in my mind, I guess, and I think that's what made me think that that was the better match. But after watching them back to back, it's definitely Hangman versus Swerve. You can't top that. You can't top the blood spot. You can't top the stapling. You can't top you can't top stapling your baby's finger painting onto a man's face. Come on, the glass, the real glass, bitches. Like
I think about
what?
the real glass all the time.
Like like oh my god, you can't top that. You can't. I'm sorry.
I remember when I got back to work after being in LA, my boss asked me, "What was the best thing you saw?" I immediately jumped into gory detail of this whole match, and I was like a child who you just said, "Tell me about dinosaurs." Like, I lit up like the North Star, just talking about the blood spot, the barbed wire chair, the staples, the glass, the blood. It was I like, that's what I'm here for. That's what I come to this shit to see.
When he dropped Hangman on the cinder block on the apron and that bitch split
Oh,
in two.
oh my god. My god. I wish there was, like, an official, like, Oscars for pro wrestling. I wish that companies would be able to come together to make, like, an academy so that awards could be given out, not just stuff that's online or stuff that belongs to a magazine or stuff that belongs to one company and there's no physical place for any trophy or anything like that. I want essentially like a what do you call it? What do you call it? What's the not a club. It's like what's the word for it? I'm totally blanking.
An
Like
association? I don't
an
know.
association. I think that's it. I think that's what I mean. Like an association of people who can just vote on wrestling from across the world and give out awards based on who did what best because this one would sweep.
Yeah, I think so. Um, I think we've forgotten that Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay exists,
No, I
and
haven't. It's just not as good.
see, that is interesting coming from you because I know Kenny's your boy.
Kenny
But
is my boy, but
yeah, if like I would say that it's not because I don't like Kenny and Will as much. Like it's crazy. Okay, I kind of don't mind Will Ospreay, even though I know that he's mildly problematic. Um, but I like his character. I think being a bruv is very hilarious to me. He got me with that shit. So I do enjoy when I get to see him. Um, obviously, I love Kenny Omega as a wrestler. Not so much his character, but I did like that match a lot. I liked that match a lot. It was great seeing it in a movie theater with a bunch of other wrestling marks. Um, but I'm sorry, I'm a horny girl at heart.
That's so real.
And I'm sorry, I can't get over it. I can't get over it.
There's
Hangman,
genuinely,
you crazy bitch.
there's nothing you can do to there's nothing better than that. It's like a rough, uncut diamond that you are watching, like, actively be shaped into, like, your favorite cut, and then they give you the ring at the end. Like, it's perfect. I do Kendall is, of course, my boy. He is my boy forever and always. However, you just didn't top Adam Page. And that happens sometimes. Like, I was the number 1 Kenny Omega must lose in 2021, Full Gear. Like,
Mm.
I needed him to lose more than I needed air. Like,
For the fun.
sometimes Adam Page is just better.
I wouldn't necessarily say that it's that he's better. It's that Kenny Omega is just um he's gotten older. And I know that upsets you. But it is Adam Page's era.
It is.
and I think we are reaching soon the conclusion of Kenny Omega's. The same way we're reaching Bryan Danielson's, you know, same way that we will be reaching Naito's at some point, whenever he loses the championship. Shout out to my boy! Shout out to my boy Naito! He did that shit. He did the thing. He did the roll call.
Shout out
Sonata was
Tranquilo.
there. Evil was there. They were all there. Evil almost ruined it for him. I got angry as fuck. But Sonata came out with the save, boy. He came out with the save. But all his boys were there, and that's what's important. You
That's a
know,
sweet moment. It's what it's
I
all about.
I almost started crying as soon as he started speaking, kind of like with an accent, like like trying to speak Spanish, right? Because that's how he does a roll call is Los Ingobernables de Japón and shit like that, and it's just like when I hear people speak in a different language than is their own, I'm immediately endeared and I start bawling my eyes out. I'm like, oh my god, I love you. And obviously, I speak Spanish, right? So I'm Latina. This is a big deal to me. So him and just the way that he like uses part of my culture. I won't say appropriate because I'm gonna let him do it. And it's just like I love it. I'm gonna cry. You're speaking in
Aw.
Spanish and I'm crying. It was so good. I was falling asleep during that match though, man. It was way too late.
It's all the main event will always get you because Wrestle Kingdom comes on so early.
Every time I've tried to stay up to watch a New Japan pay per view, and it didn't matter that I was on night shift because the same thing happened when I tried to watch Kenny versus Jericho in was it 2019? Was it
2017.
2019? 2017? Yeah. That was
Mhm.
like the first show I ever watched of New Japan. And I was on night shift already. And I was absolutely dying while I was trying to watch that match. I think I fell asleep halfway through and then woke up for the end. Legitimately. And I
When
think
I
that's happened every time I've tried to watch.
Definitely. When I tried to watch, I think it was Wrestle Kingdom 5 no, not 15. I think it was 16. The one in 2022. Um, I remember I definitely fell asleep in the middle because I remember it was Master Wato's match. I think it was his six-man tag, and I was watching the match. Suddenly, I was asleep, and it was time for Okada. And I'm like, "What happened?"
I think that's just like New Japan tradition now. You
Kinda,
just
yeah.
fall asleep, wake up for the end.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah. But proud of my boy. Proud of my little bastard. I love that guy. He's so
Yeah.
good.
Also, speaking of
Um,
Wrestle Kingdom, shout out to John Moxley with the Red Hood gear, and surprising me deeply that he knew who Red Hood was in the first place.
right? He gives off the same vibes that Hangman does. Like, because
Of like,
Hangman has said before that he doesn't watch comic book movies, like superhero
he's not a
movies, and
superhero person. No.
no, he's not at all, right? And Mox gives off the same vibes
He totally
to me.
does. Like, I recognized when it's once I saw, like, a clear picture of him, I'm like, Jason Todd? How do you know who that is?" And it makes sense that he
Right.
likes Jason Todd. Jason Todd is a very John Moxley character. However, I didn't know he picked up Batman comic books in the first place, enough to know anybody on the Bat family.
Right?
Yeah, it was
He
solid
looked
gear.
very cool. He looked very cool. And
It was awesome.
it's really unfortunate that I had this reaction, but when I saw the Nemeths, the first thing out of my mouth was Nemeths.
It was nice to see them, honestly.
It was.
I
It
didn't
was.
expect Dolph there at all.
It was nice to see both of them together, which is why it's like to me it was Nemeths. It's like plural. Like they're together in the same place and it's wrestling related and it's not having to do with, like, comedy. Like what are they doing
Right?
together? It's so cool. It was
We are
nice.
nothing if not suckers for wrestling families.
I pop. I pop big time.
I love it. I love it so much. It's so
I
fun.
pop big time. Like, do I necessarily care what he's gonna do next? Like, okay, it is David Finley, and I know the internet does not like David Finley, and I'm
Oh,
fine with
I
that.
don't like David Finley.
You know what? To each their own. You can like who you like, okay? Hate who you hate. I don't care. You can just you can have no reason to hate him, and I'm just like, that's fine. You hate him. I don't care. I don't care. I think he's fucking hot, okay? Let's be real. Sometimes you're just gonna like a wrestler because he's hot, okay? Now, this was what I got upset about a couple of days ago on Twitter when somebody did the whole, what I'm a female wrestling fan, of course, and finished the thing. And my thing is of course people assume I like a wrestler because he's hot. Okay, this is my one. This is my one, okay? This is my one. I can have one.
You
Okay? I
can.
don't I
Like,
don't have
I
new
don't like when
I don't watch
people
New Japan. I don't watch New Japan actively.
yeah.
I don't pay attention to the stories about what's going on with David Finley or the War Dogs or anything, okay? I don't care. I like David Finley because he's hot. Every other wrestler that I like, I have my reasons. Leave me alone. Okay? I can
People
have
gotta stop fronting that they don't have a wrestler. You have at least one where you like them because they're attractive. All of you do. Let's be real. Let's be fucking for real for a second. Like, of course you do. You're human.
saying, okay? Let me have it.
I'll
Okay?
allow it.
Look, he came out in his entrance and I started barking. I don't think you understand. And
That
Will
man was
Ospreay was in that match.
5'10".
Mox was in that match. Okay? And I didn't give a shit about him. I love Mox.
You're down bad.
I love Mox. Okay? And he came out of the hood in the mask. Like, I should have been like, hell yeah, let's fucking go, Mox. No, I didn't give a shit. New Japan Mox is something else. Okay, fuck that guy. He is cool as hell though when he goes over there. Like, it's crazy. Why is he
He
so
is
cool when he
so
goes there?
cool. It's like
And he moves
it's just kind of being a
different.
product of your environment, man. being other places brings out a different part of you.
It's true, and I think he would agree because he's the kind of person that gets, like, jacked up when he feels a certain environment, you know? Like, he goes crazy. I think that brings it out of him, truly, like, it really does. Um,
Yeah, I think so too.
yeah. I thought it was very funny that, uh, David Finlay got in, uh, Nick Nemeth's face. It was really funny. There was no reason for that, and he was just like, "You know what? Fuck you. Why are you still here?" And then, obviously, it's gonna be a feud now, so, um but yeah, I am very happy that Finley won.
I just kinda had the worst thought ever I think I've ever had in my life. When you said Finley got in Nick Nemeth's face for no reason, I immediately thought, what if they have Nick Nemeth replace him as leader of Bullet Club? And I just
No,
about wanted to kill myself. Just about wanted to kill myself. 'Cause
no,
I'm
you
like,
can
"You can't do that to him, you can't do that to Bullet Club. Don't do that."
I don't even care about Bullet Club that much, but I don't want that.
I know.
I don't want
Not
that.
God. I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. I'm Bullet Club for life first and a person second. Don't you dare do that to the faction that I love. You've done enough with David Finlay. Don't do any more.
Oh my lord. Okay, do we have any, more thoughts about New Japan since I got us sidetracked?
All we do is get sidetracked, it's fine. But
Oh.
no, no more thoughts from me.
Um, I'm I have one more thought. Uh,
Mhm.
I did not really care for the Okada-Danielson match. Everybody is hailing it
I
as this really, really good match, and maybe I fell asleep during it. So
you
I
either,
can't
honestly.
I may
It
have,
starts off
so
pretty
may
slow. It starts off
I mean,
pretty
it's
slow. They might
Okada.
have just caught you lacking.
It's it's Okada.
I
So,
know, I know.
it starts off
I've
slow,
gotta
it all
watch it again.
Yeah. So, maybe I just fell asleep, but I didn't think it was that I mean, it wasn't what everybody's saying. And frankly, it don't matter how tired I am. If it's good, I'm gonna stay awake. You know what I'm saying? So
Unfortunately, no, I do not. I could knock out given any match. I'm bad. I c I could've if you gave me if okay, let's put it this way. If Hang Mega versus the Young Bucks Revolution 2020 came on at 5 AM, unfortunately, I'd be clean out. I'd be gone, unconscious.
I don't know how these, British folks do it. All these Europeans that watch Dynamite every week.
I think it's just stamina, like, they're just used to it, 'cause it's like they have to.
I'm I mean, this is I'm not trying to complain because I know that we don't do this often, so but man, that shit is crazy.
It
I have
is.
major respect for people who stay up to watch wrestling all the time.
They're warriors.
Like, props, kudos, everything. So, do you wanna go back a little bit, since we skipped ahead to Wrestle Kingdom?
Yeah. Let's go back. So, post Full Gear, Hangy is off TV for quite a while because of the aforementioned hanging, and it is just a little bit miserable without him because it always is. Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty depressed. I mean, I was
Yeah,
trying not to
I was
show, but yes, I was a little
I
depressed.
just I've gotten so used to and also not only was Hangman off TV, the Bucks started their, um they started their hiatus, which I truly believe would have ended at World's End had those plans gone according to plan. We'll get into what happened to that later because of a fan question that we have answered. Not fan, more like friend question that we're gonna answer. So Hangy's off TV, Bucks are gone. It's a little bit miserable, but Swerve is riding high.
Yeah. And it's the start of the Continental Classic. Or the Cunty
Yes.
Classic, as I would call it. Because that shit was very cunty. They
All
were
the
doing
cunt
it
was served.
honestly.
They had such great matches in that lineup.
Mhm. They sure did.
Yeah.
So, Cunty Classic starts, and um, what is it? 2 weeks in, Hangman shows up late.
Yeah, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, he shows up late. Walks into Renee's shot. Is upset. Ends up getting into an argument with MJF, who Renee was trying to talk to. Um, it was what did you think of that promo? Because I liked it a lot, and it's something that I've always worried about when it came to Hangman getting on the mic with Maxwell, is that he wouldn't be able to hold his own. And do you think that he held his own on this one?
I do. I've honestly stopped having the fear that Hangman couldn't hang with MJF. I've stopped having that since beginning of 2023, honestly. Um, Given all of his promo work that he had against Moxley and
Mm.
coming out on top of quite a few of those promos, I'm like, okay, yeah, he's got it. He's in his own league now. He knows what he's doing. And I think this was a really good starting off promo between the two of them. I think they can both start cutting deeper and they can both go longer and they can just get in each other's faces. Um, I really do wonder when that's going to happen because it feels pretty inevitable.
I've always thought that that was one of the big feuds that we would be, you know, fed on a silver platter. And we still haven't gotten it yet, not truly, you know. We got the beginnings of it in 2019. And, you know, just small little things, and then they were apart for quite a while, much
Mhm.
like Hangman and Mox were. And now seeing them same frame literally made me insane. It made me insane. I was like, "Oh my god. Oh my god. What is happening? Oh my god." But we'll see how that turns out, because obviously there's some more things we need to discuss, a la MJF.
Oh, yeah.
Um so yeah, he cut that promo. Uh then the next week he had a match with Roderick Strong. I was there live. Swerve and Mox had their match for the Continental Classic,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they
That shit
were,
went off.
bro. I need to start going more to the Dallas shows, because like the little show that like the shows that they put on, like lower lower in Texas, like in the like on the south border and like in Houston, that shit don't cut it. Like I don't know what Antonio Khan thinks that we in southeast Texas like, but it ain't what he gives Dallas, and that shit pisses me off. Like it pisses me off beyond all reason. Like, why do you save the good shit for Dallas? Okay? Do you not realize that Houston is one of the biggest cities in the continental US? Like, can you give us something good, please? Because it feels like every time that he does it anywhere near me, it's not that great. However, the one like badass match that I ever saw that happened in Houston was Hangman versus Takeshita, and I'm still pissed at myself for not being there. I was broke. I was broke. I couldn't go.
That was unfortunate because that was a banging match. That was hot. I
The
enjoyed that
most
match greatly.
psychosexual thing I had ever seen on AEW television at time. Hangman has continued to build upon that ever since then.
Oh yeah,
But holy
he's topped
shit.
it.
Yeah. He's definitely topped it already, but that was like one of the first things that made me go crazy. And him just all of it. All of it. It was just it was crazy.
It was great.
Anyways, back to what I was saying. Uh Roddy versus Hangman was great. That was my two baby girls. Mox versus Swerve was really good. I really and Brody versus Andrade, like that was a good match. I think I missed Jay Lethal's match because I went somewhere. I think I had to go to the bathroom or something. But it was really short, and I figured that it would be short, or at the very least, not very important, so I didn't bother. And then there was another match that was really good on the card, but I can't remember
Wasn't
what it.
it? I want to. It was. I want to
Did
say it
Jay
was
have a match?
Re. I want to say it was Riho's match.
No, there was a Roosh match. There was a
Was
Roosh
it Jay
match.
versus Roosh?
I think so. That was really good too. I liked that a lot. Like the whole card was just stacked. It was stacked.
It was very
And
good.
most of it was from the Continental Classic. I was surprised they had put one of the Blue League on Dynamite, and I was really upset about it because if you think about it, it took up a huge chunk of time from the show. Like it went long. It had a picture in picture. I know it did because everybody was. I could I could see in the chat while I was there that they had gotten a lot of it in picture, so it felt slower to them. Um, but for me, it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. So I enjoyed the whole show. You started off with Joe and Hangman and Roddy, and then you end with Mox and Swerve. It's just like, oh. And then Hangman gets his ass beat. Everybody was talking about how about his groans, his moans and groans.
Oh yeah, because they just let him. They just let him go. It's like they just pulled the ripcord and just let it play. Like he was moaning for a while up there.
Yeah, yeah. No, you could hear it was loud in there. Let me tell you.
Fantastic ending.
I was too like worried about him as a person to pay attention to like the noises that were coming out of his mouth. But I can understand. Fair play to the horny girls at home. That shit was amazing. And I thought it was very funny that he showed up a week before, which was literally the like would have been like the 7th anniversary of me and my ex-husband. And then so it was like a really shitty day and I needed to see Hangman and Hangman showed up. And then the next week I was there live for my birthday and Hangman was there. And then at the end of the show he's just like, "Now I'm dipping." It's like, "Yeah,
I'm
thank
a head
you."
out.
It's like, "You came here for my mental health and now you are gone." Fair enough. Yeah, it was I love Hangman. He's great.
I love Hangman.
I'm so upset that I looked down at my phone the exact moment that Mox and Swerve decided to kiss each other.
You played yourself. I don't know what else to tell
I
you.
am
You played yourself. You gotta pay attention.
so upset. I mean, you can't have it all. You can't have it all.
I remember when that happened, I was like I was ready to start, like, put my pillow in my mouth and shake it like a dog toy. Like, holy shit. I was like, "Yeah, swerve, Kissy! Oh my god!" Like, I was so happy. I was so happy. But then I immediately thought, "Oh, so you can give Swerve a kiss, but you can't give Hangman a kiss." Like, okay, I see how it fucking is. I see how it
I
is.
know.
I guess I'll
Why
just
do
go
you
fuck
guys
myself.
keep dogging why do these guys keep dogging on Hangman, dude? Hangman needs a kiss. He needs a
He
big old
does.
kiss right in the mouth. You can do it on the forehead, fine. If y'all gotta
No,
be like that,
you've kissed the other ones on the mouth, you gotta kiss him on the mouth.
right? Exactly. You get it. Why don't they get it? Okay? And like, Swerve. Okay, this is a bullet point that we have to go over because Swerve has been baiting the girlies.
He
Okay?
has, for a long
We have
time.
I have sources. Okay? I have sources. He is baiting the girlies. Okay? I feel it. I know it. I know it for a fact. He knows what he's doing. I
He
know he
really
knows what
does.
he really does. I mean, okay,
He's not slick.
he's no. Look, look, you can't he if I'm about to have a meltdown over this guy. Look, if he did any studying on the Hangman fan base, he would know that these bitches are thirsty. Okay? And therefore, because he is a mogul, right? He is a man of many industries. I feel like he would understand that the best way to get people on his side, especially women, is to give them what they want. The fan service, okay? And I feel like he would exploit that with all of his being. He would do that. Don't you think?
Yes.
Exactly. So, kissing Mox, okay? The whole tying him with Hangman, both of them being bonded forever, da 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 da, all that shit he was spouting in his Continental Classic uh post match videos that they were posting online. He knows what he's doing.
Gay
Okay?
ass nigga.
What?
Gay ass nigga.
He knows what he's doing. And you know what? You know what? That eyeliner, it's working. It is working because every single time that I see him wearing eyeliner, I'm like, oh god, why is he so pretty? Why is he so beautiful? I mean, he was already beautiful, but his eyes are really popping right now. I'm loving it. It gives him this very broody teenager look that I
That is
really
exactly
enjoy.
what the fuck I was thinking. That is exactly the word that literally popped into my head was broody. That's exactly
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, because like he walks out and he's always in a jacket, right? He's always in a jacket. It's always got pockets. He's always holding them like this, and he's always walking out with a mean mug on his face. Like I fucking detest all of you. And it's like you're a
Taking
teenager.
the prince
You're a broody teenager.
taking the Prince of Darkness for a day out. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I love the whole vibe. Good. And I don't know whether or not he is gonna turn babyface, because I'm still not sure what's going on here. It's still very up in the air. Like, but I am enjoying what I am seeing. Most of it. Not all of it. but most of it, especially when it comes to Swerve and Hangman.
Yeah.
So after that, I got to go see Final Battle, and that slapped. Final Battle was great. And I'm upset at myself because I still haven't gotten an ROH subscription. But I really, really, really enjoy ROH, like when it comes to like pay-per-views. I don't know if I have
They
the
typically
willpower.
are very good pay-per-views.
I don't think I have the willpower to watch weekly, but ROH pay-per-views are amazing.
Yeah. I
So,
know good and goddamn well I do not have it in me to watch 2 different programs weekly. I know this because I attempted to back in 2021, and I burnt out after a week.
mm,
So it's not in the cards for me, but I really do enjoy going on the timeline and seeing the ROH team blow everybody away with some of the crazy awesome shit that they've managed to pull off. It's always nice to just go on Twitter, go on Tumblr, and you just see people having the best time.
yeah. And holy crap, Billy versus Athena was awesome. And having the women main event a pay-per-view made me so happy. Genuinely. I can't say that I enjoyed the ending of that match because it didn't really make sense to me why Billy would just go back with Athena and become her minion, but um which was good. It was really fun. I enjoyed it. I'm happy that Tony Khan saw the worth of his ROH Women's World Champion, and there's been a lot of talk lately from people saying that that match must have rewired Tony Khan's brain because because he seemingly is taking a little bit more interest in his women's division. We'll see how that goes, I guess,
Yeah,
because
I think so
it's
far we're only a week into the new year, and well, by the time this comes out, the next Dynamite will have been out. I think we're going in a good direction, but like I said, AEW has essentially had a hard reset going into the new year, and I predicted that it would, but it's so far we're doing pretty good.
yeah. I liked all that stuff. The the tribute match for Jay Briscoe with that had FTR and Mark Briscoe versus BCC. That was so fun. My dad hated it. It was so fun. It was so good. The amount I spent the whole match watching Lux. And
That's the way to do it.
he is such a funny man to watch constantly.
Yes.
I saw that man pull his fork out of out of his pants. I was watching him blade. I was watching him do all kinds of shit. He's over there sweating. it was it was really nice. Seeing Danny Garcia was really nice. I finally
Oh,
got to meet
Danny.
T. I finally got to see TMDK because I didn't really know them much. Um, they are funny. They are goofy motherfuckers.
Oh, yeah. The
They're
Brit
very.
wrestlers are the Brit wrestlers are some of the best comedy wrestlers around. Not
Mhm,
necessarily, like, comedy full-on comedy wrestlers, but when they decide to be funny, they're funny.
mhm. Yeah, they're very funny. Shane Haste is like was just trying to be provocative every chance he got. The other guy too, the big guy, I forget what his name is. He was like popping his pecs to the front row, and I'm just like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
"Bro, chill out, my dad's
Very
here."
funny. I know, and I was taking video too. I'm sure my dad was like, "Ew, freak." um, new guy to watch also, Black Taurus. That dude.
He looks short. Is he short?
Look, no, he didn't look that short to me. He didn't look that short to me. Um, what I didn't realize is that man kind of sexy underneath too.
That
underneath
mask?
underneath, yeah. I saw his lips. They were juicy.
Well,
Look, he takes selfies like every other night and posts them on Twitter. And dude, if you
interessante.
look, if you look at, you look at his face, like what you can see of it, he looks like Roman Reigns. Except you can't see right at his eyes. But everything else, it gives Roman Reigns. And we all know Roman Reigns is an attractive man.
Very beautiful.
Except, here's the thing Black Taurus can wrestle.
All right.
Look, I love Roman. I love Roman. But Black Taurus? Roman to run for his money now.
Is it that you think Taurus wrestles better, or is it that Taurus wrestles differently? Because Roman always could wrestle. I think people just conflate the fact that he doesn't do nowadays because he doesn't really have to story-wise, which is a shame because he used to show up and show out in like 2017 and 2018. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
sidetracked. I think more people conflate Roman's style of wrestling to he can't wrestle, which is not correct. Um, so I'll check out
He
Black
can
Taurus
wrestle, he
though.
just chooses not to. He has
Yeah,
no reason to. Because the story doesn't mandate it.
yes. That's exactly what it is. For better or for
Well,
worse, that's exactly what it is.
yeah. So, right now, in my eyes, can't wrestle.
Roman's not wrestling. No, he's not.
Exactly.
When
So,
was the last time he we're getting sidetracked, we don't need to talk about Roman.
look, one of my favorite matches that Roman has ever done is that stupid fucking ambulance match that he did with Braun Strowman.
Man, why? His match with AJ Styles and Money in the Bank is right there.
Okay, listen, I didn't watch that one live. I wasn't watching at the time. But
Okay.
yes, that's a very good match. You're right. It is a very good match because I went back and watched it because I love AJ and I was trying to get more into Roman and I had heard that that was a good match, so I watched it. I like that match, yes. I like that match. I also like the every TV match he's had with Finn Balor is very good.
Good choice. Good
So like
choices.
two or three he's had like two or three TV matches with Finn. I like those matches. They're very good. There he has a certain style that he has to have with Finn because Finn is a certain way is a certain wrestler and it matches it meshes correctly with the way
Yeah.
that he wrestles.
An underrated Roman match that I absolutely adore and go back to a lot is him versus Drew at what do you call it?
Gulak?
Survivor Series 2020.
Oh, sorry, McIntyre. My bad. Sorry.
What?
You know I don't care. You know I don't care for Drew McIntyre. The first Drew that comes to my mind is always going to be Gulak.
How? No one's
I'm
you would have
sorry.
thought of you would have thought of a regular human being before you like I
Listen,
would have thought of someone who's not a wrestler before I would have thought of Drew Gulak.
we're not going to have this conversation. We're not having this conversation.
Oh my god. All
Nope.
right.
Don't you dare disrespect Drew Gulak that way ever again, okay?
I'm just okay. What I'm saying, I'm not
I want to
saying
hear
he's
it.
bad. I'm not saying he's not good at his job. I'm saying sorry. I'm saying he's not the most memorable at his job. That does not make him any less good at it. It's just he doesn't get a lot of recognition, so he's not typically the first person anybody thinks of.
But I like his last name, and so I'm gonna remember that one way faster than I remember McIntyre, because I don't give a shit about Drew McIntyre.
I give all the shits about Drew McIntyre.
I know you do.
I hope he's having a good day. He looks really
Me
good from
too.
what I see on Raw, and I don't see really anything of Raw. I just like to look at clips of him.
I hope he's okay, but I don't care for him. But he doesn't need me to care for him, so it's fine.
No, not really.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's totally fine. It's all right. No, I'm kidding.
Over there
Because you
grabbing
guys
your
can't see it, I reach behind me to grab the claymore that I have next to my desk. And yes, I did have my mother buy me a claymore because I like Drew McIntyre. That's not the whole story, but that's most of it.
Anyway,
All
back
right.
on track.
Yeah. Back to what we were actually talking about. So the Cunty Classic ended, and we had Moxley versus Eddie as the final match, which at World's End, which was the greatest thing I'd seen in a while. It was so I just I I like when friends wrestle each other for very, very high stakes because I like when they bring in their past. I like how it's like it's your future versus mine. I love you, but I need this. It's like I'm not going to betray you, but I'm not going to hand this to you either. I love the dynamic. It's so much fun and it makes for great wrestling, especially because these two are great wrestlers.
Yeah. The hug at the end was so important to me because it's one of those things where like they're not on the same page. They haven't been for a while now. And it was one of those hugs where it was almost like a cat where he didn't want to hug him, or at least you got that sense. But then eventually, because he actually does care about Eddie and always will, he hugs him and it's not too long, right? It doesn't overstay its welcome. And then he just lets him go and then walks out of the like drops down and gets out of the ring so that Eddie can have his moment. And it's such a beautiful show of respect from Mox
Oh yeah.
to hug the person that he cares about so much and then immediately just dip because he wants Eddie to have his moment with the crowd, with everybody.
Mhm.
It's very important to him. He gets to actually revel in that moment, you know? So
Yeah.
I loved it so much. It was so good.
It's mhm. Warm and fuzzy.
Definitely warm and fuzzy. And it was
Also, I wanted to sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Well,
Okay.
it's kind of gonna transition into something else, so go ahead, whatever you need to say.
Okay. I wanted to say the Continental Classic belt is literally just the undisputed title from 2003. Like I was over the weekend, I was rewatching a lot of old WWE, and when that title came up, I'm like, okay, that looks familiar.
Mhm.
So, but that's okay because I also realized that I think it was not Deep South Wrestling. One of the really old Southern territories of wrestling, their title belt is what inspired the new AEW women's title belt. If anybody knows exactly which one I'm talking about, because I have the belt in my head, I just don't remember what promotion it was for, and I want to say one of the Von Erichs was carrying it. But it's like I like the way that Tony will often use like pieces of wrestling history to um, just kind of be able to have their retellings in the modern era with AEW.
I liked Eddie's gear. I liked that he got new gear. I like that it was gold and white and black, which as befits the Gold Gear theory.
Oh, yeah.
It made it made me really happy to see him win, to have new gear, for it to be gold. It made me really, really, really happy. And I know he already had the other two titles, obviously, but like
It's just
winning a
it's nice that it's because he put them on the line that they weren't safe the whole time, so it's kind of like he won them again.
Mhm.
Yeah. And overall, it's just nice to see Eddie happy.
It really is. And it's crazy how far he's come since he started in AEW, you know? It's, as you say, warm and fuzzy. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Um, he got wins over all of the BCC, which is also very important to me.
Hell yeah, brother.
And what I was going to say earlier is that it was a very nice juxtaposition of how friendship can be from this match to the one that ended the show. Um, because that was upsetting for a lot of people, you
Yeah.
know,
I was gonna
people
say
that
on this podcast, we had a little bit of a different reaction.
yeah, no, I'm just trying to lay out, you know, the facts. Um
Yeah.
I know our sister podcast, Waffly Bollocks, they were very upset for MJF. I believe Sarah said that MJF is what got her into wrestling. So I completely understand why that would be upsetting. Um, however, I fucking told you guys. I told y'all. I
Victory
told
lap.
you. Yes, I'm doing a Bucks victory lap in the ring right now. That is what I am doing. Okay? I
Arms
am
up,
doing
running in
my
a
little
circle. We
I'm doing
win.
my little I'm doing my little Matt Jackson jog right now. It's like, yes. This is exactly what I said was going to happen. Listen,
I
the
was waiting for
only
this one.
the only logical explanation that anybody needs, okay? The only explanation that you need for why Adam Cole did this. He is a fucking snake and always has been, and I told you! Okay? You cannot sit there. He is a snake first.
Oh, yeah.
He is a snake. Okay? That man was always going to do it. I don't want to hear anything about, oh, I wonder when he decided that he was gonna betray Max. I wonder what moment was it? No. No, honey.
Actually, I do wanna I think
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
so I think Adam Cole, he had it in his head he was gonna betray him. He was gonna betray MJF at All In, but I think he just wanted to toy with him a little longer when he saw how earnest he was becoming. I think because it was like I think he at that point was like, "No, it's too easy." He hasn't this won't take everything away from him yet, because he thinks even if I betray him for the belt, he'll still have me or something. I have to really, really dig my claws in, so once I rip him out, I take everything with me. I think he decided at that point, "No, I'm not gonna betray you just yet." He was always going to betray him, but I think he tacked on extra time just to make it that much more painful.
That's fair. Only because Cole likes to hurt people that love him.
So much. It's his favorite pastime. Above all else, Adam Cole is a man-eater.
He is a cat who likes to play with its food. He is. That is true. I still think no matter what, though, that man came back as a heel, and everybody pretended that he was a babyface just because he came back from injury. Not me! I didn't! I didn't believe that man for a second!
I don't think I believed him. I think I just simply enjoyed the charade he wanted to put up. Like, I'll support you in acting this way, but I know who you are.
That's fine. See? I'm okay with that. That's a fair analysis. And I like to think that that's how I went with it too. But in my head, I was always like, everybody calling him a babyface is wrong. Why are you saying that? It's like, oh, he cut a babyface promo. I don't care. It's Adam
He can cut
Cole.
he can cut every type of promo under the sun.
Yeah,
Doesn't mean he's being real.
he listen. Adam Cole is like every man. They will tell you what you want to hear. That is what he does. He tells you what you want to hear. You were happy to see him back from injury. So you turned him babyface and he knew that you would turn him babyface and therefore he said, "Fine, I'll give you what you want. It's only going to be that much sweeter when I betray your ass." He didn't just betray MJF. He betrayed everybody who believed that he was going to be a babyface. Although most people had an inkling, obviously. But I believed. I believed in him the whole time. I know the real Adam Cole. Okay?
I know what you are.
Yes! I know what you are. You're a
Yeah.
bastard.
I wanna pet him, like, on the head and just be like, "Good boy," because it's like, You good boy, you did exactly what you were supposed to do."
Yeah.
And that was be the fucking bad guy.
Don't you just love when he's a bad guy? He's such a prick.
Yes! So
I love
much.
it.
So much.
I will say, though, that as happy as I was for Cole to finally betray Maxwell at the end of this, we didn't explain. So Joe won the championship off of MJF. Cole was there ringside. He came out 2 second Max. And Joe seemingly won clean, right? Which is fine.
So, what I heard was, because I haven't watched this match yet, um, I I was simply pay-per-view fatigued because the last one I'd seen, I went to live and then watching Wrestle Dream and then All Out and then All In, and it was just too much. But what I've heard is Adam Cole was supposed to bring out the Dynamite Diamond ring for MJF to use, but Adam couldn't find it. So MJF didn't have anything to win with because he was so injured and he lost clean to Joe. So
That's not what
basically, hmm?
that's not what happened. He
Oh,
did
it's
pull the
not?
ring out.
Oh, he did?
There was a moment where he could not find it and I almost lost my mind because I was like, there's no way they're doing the Wardlow spot again.
That's exactly
There's
Wardlow part 2.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh
Get
no,
Wardlowed,
is
idiot.
Cole gonna Wardlow him?" Like, I got so scared. I was like, "Don't let it be this way! Don't let it be this way!" But then he pulled it out, and I was like, "Oh, thank God!" And he pulled it out, and he gave it to him, but it was no use.
Ah,
Like in the end, I do believe Joe won clean.
yeah,
So
I that is what I remember is the Dynamite Diamond Ring fumble and Joe winning clean. It was the in between I didn't have.
yeah, so Joe won clean. And then immediately after, the goons came out. started beating on both Max and Cole, and you can hear Cole saying, you know, don't hurt him, hurt me, da 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 da. And it's like in my head, I could see the parallel between this moment and when was it the Outcasts and Jericho messing with Britt, where
Oh,
he's like
yeah.
handcuffed to the ring, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, are you kidding me? Did did they just mirror Max to a woman? To his literal girlfriend? What is happening
Let's
here?
go. Let's go.
It was crazy. Yeah. Like like that was like the last good moment for every Adam JF shipper that that exists. And then it was ripped away from them immediately because the lights went out, and then like everybody's like, what's going on? What's going on? It was a little too slow, but it's because they were bringing a chair in and they were trying to get Cole on the seat, I think. And then
Yeah.
it like cuts back and Cole is sitting in the chair and he holds up the mask, and poor Maxwell's face. He
Poor
was
little Maxwell.
he was distraught.
That poor baby.
Little meow meow. Truly. That was the first moment where I really actually felt bad for him. Because
The saddest of wet cats.
every other moment before this has been MJF being turned babyface by a crowd that I didn't agree with. Because, like Cole, they just liked Max so much that they turned him babyface without there being an actual redemption for his character. It's like they said, our scumbag. He was still a scumbag. This entire time, he has been a scumbag. He did not change. He still fat shamed people, okay? He still resorted to the worst tricks imaginable, okay? In every single match, in every single promo, he resorted to the dumbest things alive. Like everything was the same from the beginning of his reign, where he was a heel. The only difference was that a faker became his friend. So it was just two fakers being fakers. Okay? Except the difference is by the end of it, Max has gotten wholly betrayed by someone. So it was the first time where he's actually seeing the consequences of his actions. You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
It does. Is Adam Cole technically a consequence of his actions? Because Adam Cole is going to do that to him anyway.
Yeah.
Not necessarily just because Max was a bad person. He was going to betray Max because he's Adam Cole.
Can we call it karma?
We can. I think so.
Okay, we can
Yeah,
call
that
it
I
karma
think
then.
that fits. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not necessarily something that is actually directly related to all the bad things you
Yeah.
did, but in the end,
It's what you
the
fucking
the
get.
universe finds a way. The universe finds a way for
It's
you
what you
to
fucking
suffer
get, bud.
consequences. Exactly. So, yeah. Max is off TV now. We'll see for how long.
Mhm. I
Um,
think he's gonna drag I think he's gonna drag out being gone for a good while because Lord knows the second his music pops, he's getting Stone Cold Steve Austin cheers. That crowd's gonna go fucking ballistic.
you think?
I don't believe he's actually going to WWE because there would have been 100,000 headlines. and a bunch of speculation and a bunch of their deal is this, their deal is that, because Lord knows no journalist can keep their mouth shut about
Not when it
anything
comes
at
to
all.
WWE.
Hell no. They would have been people would have been throwing rocks through Triple H's house to get to just hear what he's saying to Maxwell. Yeah, so I think he's gonna return at some point,
Mhm. I mean, if he doesn't come back, what is Cole gonna do?
right? Like, what is his new faction of Wardlow, the Kingdom, and Roddy? Like, did they what will they be doing if they don't have, like, a foil in Maxwell?
Yep. I can see them going up against other groups, but it's more of a Max has to get his revenge on Cole, and Cole isn't
Yeah,
ready.
no.
Like he's still injured. So I'm
Yeah,
assuming that when Cole is feeling better is when we'll get Max back. We could get him back before
makes
then.
sense.
We could get him back before then, but I want to say that won't happen.
Probably not. I honestly suspect it's gonna be, like, 6 to 8 months or something like that.
I'm expecting at least 4.
Yeah, at least 4, because MJF knows how to wait out an angle.
Yeah, he's left for 3 months before. He has no
Was it only
problem.
3?
It was 3. It was beginning of June till beginning of September.
June, July, August. Yep, you're right.
Hmm?
It felt so much longer.
I think he can wait longer. I think he
Yeah.
can. Especially if he's injured and he needs to take a break, like a mandated, you need to rest this long.
We're strapping you to the hospital bed, and we are forcing you to rest and forcing you to heal.
Mhm. Which they should be doing to Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi as well. Somebody should be doing it.
I think we are now. I think we're at that spot where it's like, take a step back. I understand the love of the game, but calm down,
Please.
please.
Okay. So after this happens, Dynamite happens, and we get Cole opening the show. New music, which I like because he doesn't need music that you can sing along to. He's a bad boy.
But it's fun.
No,
I raise you, it is fun.
no, he does not need it. Also, I like that it's still the same tune, but it's a little bit slowed down, just like how MJF's was, like when he was doing the devil stuff, and it was like that orchestral, slow version of his theme. I like that. It's very interesting
Yeah.
how
I
it kind
gotta
of
say,
parallels
I'm
each
not
other.
the biggest fan. I do understand why it has appeal, it's just not for me. But that's okay.
Fair enough. So Cole basically says pretty much what the internet says about Max. He never paid his dues, he never suffered consequences, he was always a scumbag, da 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 da. Basically, not actually explaining why he did it. But once again, I parry that with, how did you not know that Adam Cole was gonna turn on this guy?
I raise you, dude, it's Adam Cole.
It's Adam Cole. Why did Adam Cole explains the consequences of his actions? I did it because I'm Adam Cole. There. Point blank. That's all you need.
I did it for The Rock. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was just right there.
That's Rikishi, right? That's the line
Yes.
that's the line that Rikishi says? Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Anyway, so this went on for about 20 minutes. I don't know why, but it did. Um If we continue this pattern, or if this becomes a pattern with Adam Cole, I'm going to get back into my early 2022 mindset, and I'm going to start asking Anthony Khan questions. I'm going to start asking him, why are you doing this to me? Why are you giving Adam Cole more time than Hangman Page? Why are you doing that? Because as much as I love Adam Cole, as much as I love my little bastard, if he continues to overshadow my boy, we are going to have problems.
That's
Capiche?
fair, honestly. On I like to I like to rationalize it as, honestly, people like Adam Cole have had more time on the mic than Adam Page has been wrestling. Like, they've just been much more accustomed to it, so Tony trusts them to carry longer promos more. I don't think that's the case anymore because the last, like, segment that Hangman was on was, like, 10, 11, 12 minutes with Swerve. So I think Tony is starting to trust Hangman with giving him the mic and giving him camera time for a long amount of time, which is also kinda like why I think it would be a good time for an Adam Page versus MJF or an Adam Page versus Adam Cole part 2, because Adam Page has only gotten stronger in every single aspect over the last year, so it's kinda time to bust him out the cage again and let him go wild.
Oh, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I like to think in my head that the reason that Hangman gets so little time on any given show is because he just does such a good job of maximizing the usage of that time as opposed to other people. If you give him a minute and a half, 3 minutes, he will use that and he will push forward a story with enough for you to be interested, whereas other people can't even do that within 10 or 15. You know, I like to think that that's why. It's just he is so efficient that he can just do that and he doesn't need more time.
And
But
honestly, you're pretty correct.
I can only imagine how much he can carry things forward when he does have more time. That's my only beef.
That's fair. I also think Hangman is more the type to want to do, like, fighting segments or segments where he's getting thrown around or throwing himself around or throwing someone else around and just I feel like he always prefers to fight with actions instead of fighting with words, even though he's very good at fighting with words. He's really good at both of them, so I guess it's just he does more of one than the other.
That's fair. I just wish I got to hear him more.
I understand, me too.
Okay, so the end of this show ends with Swerve versus Danny Garcia as the main event. Um, Swerve puts down Danny, okay, which is very
R.I.P.
upsetting because he has lost every match in the Continental Classic, Danny, and then for no reason whatsoever, you put him in a match with Swerve, and then you pin him again.
Poor little Danny.
Like, what are we doing? I thought, I thought the whole point of the Continental Classic was to restore some feeling with Danny Garcia, and it just feels like he's been eating pins this whole time. What has changed?
I wanna say I've had some thoughts about little Danny, like, a lot.
Okay.
Um, and it's that it feels like it's like a coming of it feels like it's a coming of age story of his that he's been having with his matches, where he's had a lot of time with the identities that he thought he should have. And sure, they got him a lot of wins, but they never really took him anywhere. They didn't get him towards gold. They didn't get him towards feeling any sense of like self accomplishment. And then once those identities started to run their course and he's starting to lose, it feels more like the losses bring him closer towards finding himself. Because at the beginning of AEW, he was on his own, not the beginning of AEW, at the beginning of his run with AEW, he was on his own, he was the Red Death, he was winning here and there, and then he got in the ring with Danielson, and then he started to kind of put on the identity that he thought Danielson would like. Then he put on the identity that he thought Jericho would like. Then he put on the identity that he thought Daddy Magic would like. And now it feels like after all these losses, he's starting to strip away the layers of paint that he put on that weren't him. And so it feels like the more he loses, the more he starts to become himself, kind of like the way Hangman's story kind of played out. Not entirely like it,
Mhm.
but I feel like it's reminiscent of that, where he's a very young guy. He's just starting to come into who he is as a wrestler, and you really figure out who you are through your failures.
Mhm.
So I feel like even though he is losing, we're progressing with a story of Daniel Garcia, that I think will have some pretty good payoff in the next year or so, maybe 2 years, because stories like these don't happen overnight.
Right.
Um, I feel like the next time that Daniel Garcia wins, he's going to feel a lot more sure of himself and he's going to have a direction.
That's fair. I like that. I often forget that the Hangman story took place over 3 or 4 years,
Yep.
and I don't tend to give that much leeway to other people, and I really should, because that's the only way that you get invested in a story is by allowing it to play out, and becoming impatient is not good for the story,
Yeah.
'cause that's when you get start to get people voicing their complaints, and when people voice their complaints, Tony Khan sees them, and the chances of it actually coming out the way that it was meant to, or the way he had envisioned it to go, changes because he wants to give people something, you know? And so I think that, along with obviously the normal date, like routine struggles of having people out, this, that, or the other, kind of moves the flow of a story in ways that you don't expect. So we just need to be a little more patient.
I think so. I really do think he's going to be one of the breakout stars of AEW because, like, honestly, look how long it took Max. Like, yeah, when he came out, he was very popular, but he lost a lot of pay-per-view matches.
Mhm.
He was in a lot of dead-end storylines. He wasn't getting the huge recognition that he really should have been getting until 3, 4 years into it. And Danny came along after the original 4 pillars. So I do think it's just going to take a while of building this mountain. Because I feel like when people say they're climbing the mountain, I feel like the mountain isn't even done being formed for Danny before it's time for him to start climbing it.
We'll get there.
Yeah,
We just have to be patient.
yeah. I've been thinking about that little guy for so long because it's the I don't know, man. He's just, you just like him. You just want the best for him.
He's lovely. Did I tell you he touched my hand?
You did. Lucky you.
He touched my hand at Final Battle. I was so happy I didn't miss his match because his match was on the pre-show, and me and my dad got there late. And it is just, I got there, I watched his match like it barely just started, sat down, enjoyed it. It was awesome. Like he glanced over at us a couple of times because this time we were in the second row, right? So like it's very easy to be interacted with at that point. And like there were times where like the crowd was cheering him on and he would look directly at us and I was just like, help, he sees me. and then he touched my hand at the end when he slapped everybody's hands. It was awesome. It was
I
so
did
good.
tell you this, but I wanna say it on the pod. If I manage to snag us front row seats at Double or Nothing, I am holding a sign that's going to say, "Danny, I dare you to kiss me." 'Cause I think he'll do it.
Maybe. You never know, man. You never know.
Just try it. Just do something off the wall, you never know.
Yeah. So Danny loses.
Yeah.
Swerve wins, and then they start beating down him and Prince Nana. I don't know if anybody else showed up there, like from his side. But they start beating down on him, and you can hear Swerve say something about the world title. You can hear him say that. Well, it sounds like he's beginning to say that he's going to become the world champion and that that belt is his. And right as he's saying those words, Hangman's music hits. Now, we saw him earlier in the Dynamite. I didn't mention this, but we saw him earlier in the Dynamite once again coming into Renee's frame as she's doing an interview, mad, stalking with his big old suitcase. I refuse to say it was little, okay? I know what they said on Waffly Bollocks, but it's not true. That thing was huge. It was up to his torso. That man is 6 foot, okay? 6'1", okay? That was a big luggage. I don't care what they say. It was big. Anyway, so I don't know what he said in that promo because everybody was too busy looking at that man's face.
I was too busy just going like, "Holy shit, you're here?" I was like I wasn't listening. It didn't hear a word he said. I was too busy.
I don't know what he said either. I was just happy he was there. I was like shrieking at my brother, "Hangman's here! Hangman's here!"
Exactly.
So he basically, I think what he had said in that bit was, "I'm pissed off. Somebody's gonna pay," basically.
Essentially, yeah.
And at the end of the show, his music hits when he hears Swerve say all that stuff about the belt. He comes out madder than hell with an even madder mustache,
Oh, yeah.
and he just starts walloping this guy. Drops him, decks him. They start brawling. Security guards come out. Everything, like, it just gets wild in there. They got the pull apart. They start coming back at each other. They had to pull them apart again, and you can hear Hangman yelling. You can hear him say, "You will never have it," which is exactly what he said. Okay, in a previous promo, talking about Swerve. Okay, I believe it's the December 6th one where he showed up with Renee. Right before MJF started uh, talking to him. Um, he said, "I will make sure that you never have it." And then he said it again here because he saw what Swerve was saying. He knew what Swerve is pushing towards, and he's pushing towards that world championship. So it's like Hangman is just like, "No, I will continue to be a thorn in your side. You are not going to get that championship. You will not. I will not let you." And it's a very interesting dynamic because at this point, what is that? Is that a heel? Is that a face? It seems very vengeful, which is fair considering all that has happened to him because of Swerve. But I don't know. Vengeance is not. That's not a. That's not a good man's game.
There is a certain Marvel character who goes by the name Spirit of Vengeance.
Is it your Ghost Rider?
That's Ghost Rider, buddy. I'm genuinely never going to get over that. Is the fact that I made that connection and it's just the fact that other people think it too. I'm like, oh, thank God. Because I want a Ghost Rider Hangman so badly. I've been wanting a Ghost Rider Hangman since 2022. Like I want that anti-hero drag people to hell that deserve it with the flaming chain. I want that so bad. And like the ghost skeleton horse, like the imagery alone is enough to make me blow up. Like that's enough to set me on fire. That's enough to make me explode.
I love
Like
it.
please play that out as a character. Please.
Hmm. Yeah. I think that's what he's going for. I think that's what he's been going for. I mean, ever since he did the Ghost Riders in the Sky, I feel like that's enough to justify kind of um that same imagery, bringing all that up. All that stuff that we talked about in the last pod about his Texas Death promos, like all of that kind of fits the same path. Judge, jury, executioner, Ghost Rider. It's all these things that are not necessarily a good guy. You know,
Mhm.
um, uh, can we call him a heel? No, because he's still very much justified. People still very much love him. I mean, but we did just talk about how Max was a babyface, but he wasn't really a babyface. He was still a scumbag, etc. Um, I think I think we have to remember that one of the things that they said toward the beginning of AEW was that they don't really like the idea of baby faces and heels. They prefer to kind of have these characters that aren't necessarily one thing. And I feel like a lot of times we get stuck on those things, you know, of wanting to put them in a box. And so it really messes up with the idea. It confuses people because we've been taught for so long that that's how things are supposed to be. You're either a good guy or a bad guy. There's not really much in between. So I think that's what he's doing right now. He's very much a tweener. Just like Mox and the BCC are tweeners. I think he's also a tweener. I think he's one that is mainly towards the good side of things, but he can still dabble in the things that are nuts, I guess. Um, but I love him so much.
Love him to
That's what
death.
it always boils down to. I love him so much. I'm happy to see him. I'm happy that he's like, it always feels like he's pushing something forward. It always feels like even though he has so little time that he's still telling me something, he still wants to tell me a story. And as long as it still feels like he's trying to tell me a story, I'm okay with it. I'm willing to see where it goes. You know?
Yeah, agreed.
What do you think of his mustache? Because we have to talk about it.
I think his mustache is very 1980s Scott Hall, and I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's very nice.
It
Uh,
feels like it would be really soft to the touch.
I don't know anything about mustaches. I don't know if you can make them soft. I've
You can.
never I've only had like one instance where when I was married, uh my husband had a mustache and a beard, and I didn't it was not soft. So as
So
much as I
there's
loved it and I thought that it was aesthetically pleasing, I didn't like it on my face.
yeah, the way that Hangman's mustache and beard have been growing out is is kind of like to the point where it's very straight and long, which means that the strands have much more room for softness because close cut um beards and mustaches are essentially all stubble, which is why
Right.
they wouldn't be soft and they'd be prickly and they cause beard burn and things like that.
Mm,
Because his mustache has gotten so long, it's almost like it's combable. It would be like running your fingers through his hair.
right. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. I wonder if he has a comb for it. I wonder how long he's gonna keep it. I hope he keeps it for a while. I like it. I like it. It's nice.
It's nice. I think it fits. I think it fits with the fact that he's becoming a more edgy version of himself. Um,
Yeah. I agree.
I don't normally like mustaches like that. I think they're odd. I don't think most men can pull them off. Um, that's why it absolutely knocked the wind out of me when I saw him with that mustache and he looked good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
like
if there was any guy who would make that look good, it would be Hangman.
absolutely. His mustache kinda reminds me of Val Kilmer's mustache he had in that one Western with, Kurt Russell. I can't remember the movie. Um, but if anybody does remember the movie, just send over the picture because you know what I'm talking about. It's, like, luscious. It's thick, and it's long, and it's powerful. Jesus Christ, I really just put all those words together, huh?
Mm.
Yeah, that's my fault. That's on me. Anyway, it's a huge like, it's a statement, and it's really, really nice.
I think it works for whatever it is he's trying to do because normally when I see a mustache like that, I think of a prick.
Yeah. Yeah.
It gives a little bit of villain, you know? So I think that'll work. I hope he keeps it for a little bit. I mean, I'm gonna have to change my Arthur to fit what Hangman's doing right now. Like because I don't keep my Arthur that way. I normally keep my Arthur the way Hangman looks. Um, so I'm gonna have to change that, clearly.
Some updates.
Yeah, I had to do some updates on my little Arthur. Um, let's see. Are we caught up in terms of timeline? I think so,
We
right?
are. We
Oh,
are.
one one last like Hangman centric thing, I think. That's probably a lie, but uh Hangman deleted his Instagram posts before he came back. So like a day or two before World's End, I think, he deleted all of his Instagram posts and so far he's been completely silent, like no Instagram stories or anything. Like he hasn't even promoted Claudio versus Hangman for tomorrow, which normally like if he does have a match, he'll at the very least post that on his Instagram story. And he changed the bio too. It said something like already gone is what it said a while back, like months and months ago. And now that he's completely blacked out his Instagram, uh, it just says cowboy, period. I don't know what any of that means.
I hope it means it plays into him being an anti-hero because it kind of feels like it would, but we don't know yet.
I don't like not knowing what he's up to. I don't like not knowing if he's okay. I don't know if this is just him pulling back from social media completely now, or what?
I'm not sure what it is, but I trust him. He hasn't given me reason not to yet.
I just don't know what's going on. Which brings us, I suppose, to something that Sarah brought up. Sarah from Waffly Bollock. She wanted us to talk about survival tips for girlies going into severe withdrawals because their faves haven't been on TV in forever.
Boy, do we know what that's like.
We sure do. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna turn this. What are some survival tips here? Because I don't know that I'm surviving very well right now currently. Um, I'm on night shift at work.
What?
I'm waking up late. It is mid January, like midwinter. It is midwinter, and I don't think that I'm mentally healthy enough or even capable giving other people tips for survival.
Okay, I've got a little I got a few things in the bag because I went through this was all in the same year. No Kenny Omega for 9 months. No Hangman for 2.5, and no Elite for 2. So I kind of know what to do when your favorite is not on TV for an extended period of time. What you do is you have a catalog of their best matches and your favorite matches of theirs. These are not mutually exclusive things. There are the best matches you've seen of theirs, and there are the comfort matches of theirs. You make sure you have them on file, you have them stocked up, whether you have to buy the pay-per-view on Bleacher Report, or you're on Fight TV, or you're watching stuff illegally on Bilibili. Um, just have the matches you like to watch and the matches that are the best ready to go for when you start having withdrawals because they're not on Dynamite. You go ahead and you watch those when you have the free time. And then what you do is you peruse their tag on Tumblr for any given new media possible. And you do that every single day. And you take whatever content that exists of them, whether it be interviews, shoot or not, you watch them, you enjoy them, you make your own content out of them, whether it be fanfics or GIFs or um, fan cams or edits, anything you want to do. Make sure you have all of these things stockpiled so you can always just bury yourself under them when you're super, super upset that you're not seeing them and you know that they're gone for an indefinite amount of time.
I don't know why this thing keeps doing this. I like those ideas. Um,
Yeah.
I would also say, hold on, let me see if this works. For me,
Yep.
yeah. So I would also say to find something other than wrestling to distract you. For me, it usually involves rewatching 15 seasons of Supernatural or uh, 10 seasons of Smallville. You know, whichever whichever TV show you really like that has a lot of seasons that you can pay attention to instead of wrestling. Because if you just pay attention to wrestling, you're gonna get sad.
Yeah.
Um,
Agreed.
yeah. So that um, obviously the catalog of matches, um, catalogs, not just the best matches, but also your favorites, and then just take some walks. Look, 2 hours of walking for me does wonders for my mental health, especially when it's like every other day. It's awesome. I don't like to do it all the time, but it honestly does help. It's upsetting how much it helps. It really does make you feel better.
Yeah, I do enjoy I just started, well, not just started, but over Christmas, like the Christmas break I had from my job, um, where they closed the office and it was work from home, um, I would walk about 2 to 3 miles. It's just nice because it's the exercise, it's good dopamine, you get to clear your head a little bit, and it's just you're for just a second, you're not really you're thinking about putting one foot in front of the other instead of thinking about how much you miss your dude.
Mhm.
Also, the show that I've been watching to distract myself from wrestling when it's gotten bad has been One Piece because there are 1,089 episodes, all for your viewing pleasure in case wrestling is starting to wear you down.
Yeah, that'll do it. That's a lot of episodes.
And it's still going.
Um, I think that's all we have for survival tips. What do you think?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so too. Um, what else do we have to talk about?
Okay. We went over Swerve being a queer baiter. A little bitch. Shall we go over I think we should go over how we can get how Adam Squared can still win.
Okay, I feel put on the spot because a year ago I had a perfect plan. Had a perfect plan, but then Cole decided to come back and hang out with Max instead. So
I still think we can get to Adam Squared. I think we just have to if Hangman does turn into like the anti-hero Ghost Rider of AEW, I think Cole could be an accomplice to that. Kind of like kind of like paying for your sins with service type of thing.
maybe in my head, I still think of Cole as like a little snake. I explained this in two different ways. Um, the PS5 whispering in your ear, okay, and also the snake in the garden. Both pretty much the exact same thing.
Hmm.
I like to imagine that he will end up trying to push Hangman further down the dark path that he's walking. Um, I don't know how that would happen within the wrestling space just yet because I feel like I need to get a better grasp of what's going on with Cole and his undisputed kingdom first. Um, because that's usually how I come up with things is I have to get immersed in a specific concept for me to really start to understand how it could continue logically. Um, so I'm not really sure yet, but that's the idea I'm going for. I feel like, especially considering that Cole is no longer in league with Joe with stuff that pertains to the title. So I still think he can be a part of that scenario, considering that Hangman is also part of the scenario because Hangman's trying to stop Swerve so from reaching the world title. So maybe Cole can help aid that in a way, or maybe he can try. Maybe he even gets in league with Swerve, goes the opposite way, you know. Um, I like to think that Swerve would tell him to get the fuck out, but that's just me. um, yeah, I don't really have a step by step plan at the moment. I need to see how things go first. I need to watch all the chess pieces move, and then maybe I can give a better answer in a couple weeks. Um, but yeah, that's what I have so far. Um, I would like to point out that when I say this is how Adam Squared wins, it's not always me saying I want them in league together, like in any sort of way. It's more of a I can see them together in frame. If I can see both of my atoms in the same frame, possibly having something to do with each other in any way, shape, or form, that's fine, baby. Like, that is fine. I need to go crazy seeing them together. And if they keep sidestepping each other, that's gonna bother me. Like, that's where I'm like, hey, this sucks. But if they're able to interact in any way, I will be happy. That is how Adam Squared wins. Okay? That's but like obviously like I would love it if they were actually on the same side for something for once. But I do understand how that is a far-reaching conclusion to anything uh, Hangman and Cole related. But I'm good with any of it, baby. However it goes, there's still two sides of the same coin to me. I don't care. Like
Always will be.
Hangman and Swerve are probably going to be each other's greatest rivals, but I still think that uh, Hangman and Cole have have had way too many parallels in terms of the way they've grown up um, within Bullet Club, and then now here in AEW for me to like not think of them still as how one has gone and how it could have gone, and then vice versa. You know, just with a little flip of a coin. Um, so yeah, I love my Adam Squared. I think that I am always winning, and I will continue to manifest that until I actually win. So
Mm.
yeah,
Sounds like a plan.
thank you. I agree.
All right. I wanted to talk about next. This was a little debate that I saw on TikTok, and I have not stopped thinking about it since. So, as we all know, I spent a great deal of the pandemic watching a lot of vintage wrestling, 80s, 90s, 2000s, all that. So, the debate goes, who wins the match? Coked up 1997 Shawn Michaels or 2006 Perk Angle? I'm going to tell you right now it is Perk Angle because yes, Shawn Michaels had pulled out some of his greatest technical wrestling in 1997, 1998, 1996 while he was absolutely snowing. However, however, we all saw what Kurt Angle on those perks was capable of. Pure physical in-ring carnage. You can't out technical wrestling the man who's willing to throw himself off a cage and land directly on your neck and get back up. Like, there's no counter for that because he was simply unstoppable. Yes, Shawn Michaels was able to take a lot of damage while he was on coke, hence the back injury and the leg injuries, doing the backflip off the top rope just to get under Bret Hart's skin. However, he eventually had to stop because the pain was too much. Kurt Angle would go until 2010 off those perks, man. You're not you don't escape Perk Angle. You don't win the match. This man is flying off the stage, running at you. You don't even know he's coming. And he lands directly on top of you. A man with that much wrestling ability who cannot and will not feel pain, you're done.
Oh, yeah. Mhm. I think that's a fair assessment.
So, if you also want to chime in on who you think would win, that'd be great. People listening.
Oh, yeah.
But I do genuinely think Perk Angle takes that match home.
That's fair. I can see that. What else?
All right. What else shall we talk about?
BCC Book Club?
Yeah, that was I remember seeing that clip with Claudio and he's like essentially like we're making you to read. They are all so much his dads.
Yeah,
It's like,
and not just like we're not just making him read. We're making him read books that are important for his like growth as a person. It's
yeah,
for personal growth. And I believe that because you also have Brian Danielson there, and I know Brian Danielson reads books, but he doesn't just read books, you know, he reads books that will expand his mind and make him think about things differently and
yeah.
stuff
He
like
reads
that.
books to make sure his brain health is at 100% at all times. You
Mhm.
know he's making that kid read.
Oh yeah.
I love
Uh,
how all three of them are all from they're all like within the same generation essentially. And then here comes this little youngin, this like the youngest millennial possible, because I think he's 28 or so. Like, um, he just comes in and he's like just fresh faced on his phone wrestling, and they're just like, we need to show this kid. We need to get this kid's face in a book stat.
oh yeah. Yeah, me and Yuta are from 94, 95, and that is pretty much the absolute last stretch of millennials. Like I can barely call myself a millennial, and most people like younger than me will tell me, "No, you're not. You're a Gen Z." And I'm like, "Bitch, no, I'm not." I still remember VHSs. Fuck off. I know how to
So
burn a
do
CD.
I.
Fuck you.
So do I.
I don't
There
care.
is
Don't call me Gen Z. I was born in the 90s. I wasn't born in 2000, okay? I don't want to hear it. I'm
that
a
is essentially
millennial.
the cutoff is like I think it's like 99, like 98, 99, 2000 is like
If you,
Gen Z.
look, I was conscious by 2000, okay? I was conscious. I knew what was going on. I remember my birthday, okay? So, no.
And we ain't no
my
damn
first
Gen
my
Z.
my first memory I was 3 years old, okay? And I was being told to get off of a ladder that was like that was I think it was leaning on the outside rim of my grandmother's house, and up at the top of the of that area, because it wasn't like a completely made house because they were poor for a really long time. uh in Bolivia they put glass shards on top of the borders of your house, of your residence, because you don't want people coming into your place or whatever. So I was like being yelled at by my parents to get down because I was reaching that part, right? And I was 3 years old. And I'm pretty sure that I got my ass beat after, but um yeah. So I remember that, and that was probably 1998. So if I was conscious before the 2000s, I don't want to hear anything. I am a millennial. Okay? 100%.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
am
Gen Z.
firmly within the I'm firmly within the lines of Gen Z, which you all probably could have caught on to by now.
So yeah, either way, he needs his mind expanded. Chances are. Um, I don't know what to say about like I don't have any book recommendations because I don't. read books that expand your mind. I'll be
I sure
honest
as
with
shit
you.
don't.
I'll be completely honest with you. Brian Danielson would look at my choice of books to read and be like, "Your head is in the clouds. Did you know that?" And I'd be like,
Yes.
"Yes, absolutely. I hate my life."
Mhm. Although, Brian, I have read your book twice. I read it twice. I liked it a lot. It did expand my mind because you are a very interesting creature. All wrestlers are very interesting creatures, and we should read their biographies because they're insane.
Yeah, biographies are very fun actually because you really get to see how people are, how they think, and everybody thinks differently, and I like that a lot. Um, Not so much with like fantasy books, unless you really, really delve into like what are the aspects of a fantasy world that the author delves into the most, like what interests them the most, what do they talk about the most in their books, in which case then you could probably start to see how that person views the world and how they see things and how they have a different perspective. But unless you're really, really thinking about that, you're really just paying attention to what's going on in the plot and liking the little blorbos that they made for you to look at. um but your mind's not probably expanding at that point. Unless, of course, you
No.
decide to do what I said. Yeah, I've been reading Percy Jackson, so
Oh, I remember the summer of me reading Percy Jackson. I picked up The Lightning Thief from my middle school library. I read that in maybe like a month, and then I just kept going. I ripped through those books that summer. Like I think I read all 5 Percy Jackson and all 5 um what do you call them? All 5 of the Jason, what was his last name?
Grace,
Jason Grace, yes. All of those books. And then I moved on to reading uh the the
Kane
Egyptian
Chronicles,
series,
the Kane Chronicles.
Kane Chronicles, yes. I read those. And then I started reading the Magnus Chase books. I ripped through all those damn books. I was reading. They were a lot of fun.
I'm on the second book of the Jason Grace ones. Uh, I haven't started reading it yet because I'm waiting on the audiobook to come back in the library. For some reason, Amazon's Audible doesn't have it for some reason.
Whack.
I don't know why. It's the only one they don't have, which doesn't make any sense to me. They have the ones after, but not that one. It says it's not available for some reason. Uh, and then on the Libby app through my library, there's like 8 people in front of me for these audiobooks, man.
I
I'm dying. I'm dying over here.
Yeah, I was lucky. My friend just loaned me their books that they had because they had the whole series. They just let me read them and then I gave them back and I was like their own personal like library attendant. Like they were a librarian. I was just checking out books.
I would read a hardback or a paper copy of it, but my brain cannot do that anymore. And also I don't really have much time. The only time that I listen to the books is when I'm at work and I'm over there hiding my little ear earpods uh AirPods under my hair and just listening to books all day because that's the only way I get through the workday. I guess I'll just have to wait.
Yeah. I do wonder what kind of books they are reading. Like, because of course they're books that are probably like helping to make Yuta's brain a little stronger, but I wonder what titles.
I think somebody clocked what they were reading, what Mox was reading in that one picture that Red Shoes Uno posted of Mox in New Japan. Something to do with like karate, martial arts. something like
That
that.
makes sense.
Um, yeah, I guess the person like because he had the book right open to a page, and I guess they saw the title on the page, so that's how they figured out what he was reading. That must be the first book in the book club.
Nice.
I don't know what I don't know what else they would be reading, but I'm assuming it's stuff along those lines, stuff about sport, combat, mental health.
Yeah, that
I
makes
assume
sense.
not self-help books, but more like things that have to do with like physical and mental well-being somehow connected to each other. You know,
Yeah.
I assume. And then and then obviously they're all in a group chat with Sami Zayn because now they're all dads, and so um, he's definitely telling them to read some Chomsky. Like I can imagine Sammy being like, "Oh, guys, you started a book club? Look, I got you a book right here."
He
I like
opens
to.
his coat and it's just books all down the lining of it. I got what you need.
uh, every time I think of that, I think of the guy from that one bit in Hercules, the Disney movie, where he's like, where he pulls his
Mhm.
jacket open, he's like, "Do you want to buy a sundial?" Yeah,
That's funny. Sometimes I wish I still had Disney Plus so I could just go back and watch those movies. But alas, they decided to raise their prices, so fuck you.
yeah, fuck you. I don't pay for mine. My brother pays for it, so I don't care. um, Being the Dark Order. Do you want to talk about Being the Dark Order? Have you watched any of it? Because I just watched the last one today.
I have not. That's mainly because if genuinely the only weekly wrestling related thing I want to watch besides Dynamite would be BTE. If there is no BTE, then I'll just stick with Dynamite. It's not that I'm knocking Dark Order, it's just you can't outdo the doer. You can't outshine the shiner. Not for me.
I'm slowly enjoying it more and more. I really liked the Christmas and New Year's specials that they did. Um, they're really, really cute, very funny. Uh, this this past episode kind of went a little bit wasn't as good as the other two, but right before it. Um, but I am slowly starting to enjoy Jeff Jarrett, and this is really bad. I don't like this. I don't like this
Yeah.
at all.
BTE will get
I'm
you, man. Or
I'm very upset by this.
DTE.
I don't want to like Jeff Jarrett. Don't make me like Jeff Jarrett.
Mm. You can't make me. You can't make me.
um, One person I really, really do enjoy on Being the Dark Order is Jeff Parker. I love Jeff Parker. I think he has stepped up as the Tumblerina of the group because Matt Jackson isn't there anymore. And he's just been giving us like the oddest segments. And like all that's missing literally is for them to say for Tumblr at the end because that's how it feels. It feels like he is fan servicing for the female gaze specifically, and that is so important to me. I'm so glad that somebody has stepped up for Matt Jackson since Matt Jackson is not there. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Thank you, Jeff Parker.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Yeah. What else? There's one
Do
last
we have
thing on here before we get to our game, I think.
hmm?
What were you going to say?
I was going to ask about the game. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so there's one bullet point before we get to our game. which is Grayson from Twitter asked us about just wants us to talk about how others on the AEW roster have stepped up to keep the Bucks approach alive in their absence. He mentions Dark Order, mentions Daddy Magic, Daniel Garcia, and the Hardys. Unfortunately, I haven't watched Rampage in quite a few weeks, so I can't really speak on the Hardys or Daddy Magic or the Dark Order because I have been in a very midwinter depression and I really don't feel like watching anything other than Dynamite. Um,
Yeah.
I didn't even watch Collision pretty much all during the Continental Classic when I should have been watching because they had really good matches on there with people I liked. Um, I didn't watch them. Genuinely, it sucks that I just could not get myself into wanting to watch on a Saturday. But also, I was working every Saturday, so that probably had something to do with it.
Yeah.
Um,
Genuinely, when I get off of work, it is a miracle that I have it in me to watch Dynamite. Most of the time, I don't, and I have to catch it later, or I just find out what happened through Twitter, through Tumblr, through YouTube. So I pretty much only watch Dynamite. I don't want to watch Rampage. I've never wanted to watch Collision, and that will probably be the case for a long time. Um, so I do know, like what I said about Daniel Garcia beforehand is how I feel about him, like with the Restore the Feeling kind of movement, is that it is another young guy who's doing a coming of age story, who's going to find himself and is going to take the business by storm once he does. But I don't doubt that the others are all making their shows feel exactly the way they would feel if they had the Bucks on the show, or if they had Kenny, or if they had like Hung Bucks, because they do have Paige on Dynamite. Um, so I think it's nice that there's just so much solidarity that people in AEW just want it to always feel like AEW. So while I may not be watching weekly because work has been kicking my ass, there's just so much to do and I'm always like brain dead by the time I get home. Um, it's just nice to see.
I I'm glad Private Party is back. I know this isn't somebody they mentioned, but I think with Private Party coming back, that will definitely help, the feeling of having, the old guard there because I mean, I know it's only like 4 or 5 years old, like this company, 5 years old now. And, but I think that the people that were there first, whether they were young at the time and are still probably young, or whether they were young at the time and are now, getting much older in years. I still think that they are considered the old guard for me because they were there, and that's all that's
They were the
important.
originals.
They were, yeah, exactly. They were the original people that were there who who I latched onto and who made it feel like home. And
Hmm.
even though the first year was rough, there was a lot of different stuff that wasn't good, it still felt like something very different. It still felt it just it was so refreshing. It was so refreshing, and I think part of the issue with, people saying like restore the feeling or whatever is that like all things, once you've experienced it for so long, it's like you can't you can't watch the same movie twice and feel the same feeling that you felt when you first watched it. You know? Can you watch it again and find new things to enjoy? Yes. But the movie's still the same, you know? And there's always going to be that feeling of, oh, I've seen this before in the back of your mind because it's not fresh anymore. You've seen these people now for 5 years. So there's always going to be a sense of, yeah, this is comfortable. And it's not entirely dazzling anymore, which is fine. You know? Like I said, there's always going to be new things that you can enjoy. It won't, you will always see something new and something that you love. But that feeling that you're trying to feel, that was what you felt when they first started, it's not going to be exactly the same. And I don't I don't think that it's bad that you don't feel that anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes I get a little annoyed by stuff like that, especially when they keep saying, like, say it once, say it twice. That's fine. Don't keep saying it, for the love of God, please.
Sometimes people say sayings or words, and I sincerely want to hold a microphone to their mouth and say, in your own words, explain what this means. Because I feel like they're saying it just because they want to say it and it sounds nice, instead of knowing what the original person was talking about.
Yeah. Me with going into business for themselves.
Yes, that's me. That's how I feel with NDA. I'm like, shut the fuck up. You know nothing about the legal process and you know it. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
Putting the letters NDA on the shelf until you forget it's a word.
exactly. Um, okay, what else? Okay, I think we're done. I think we've hit every bullet point. Um, we've gone over the timeline, what we missed. We were gone for a while. We're sorry. Um, but now that we've finally made it through all of that, we can stop thinking so much about wrestling. Well, we can talk about our Blorbos. So we have a little game, which is connected to both wrestling and my current hyperfixation, which is obviously I mentioned I've been reading the Percy Jackson books. So we're going to put our Blorbos into who's which category or who is which god and goddess. I decided we should just stick to 12. The 12 Olympian gods, like the
Mhm.
original 12. Um, which is very funny considering what happens at the end of book 5 of Percy Jackson. But yes, we're just gonna stick with those main folks right there. So we're going to. How do I explain this? I don't even know how to explain this. Basically, I'm going to say a Greek god or goddess, and we're going to decide who on the roster that we like is that Greek god or goddess. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So I have the list here. Give me a second. All right. So do we want to start with the big kahuna? Or do we want
Is
to
that Zeus?
start. Yes. Or do we want to start from like the bottom of this list?
We can start big. We can start off strong.
Okay. So Zeus. Do you want should I read off this Wikipedia so in case people don't know who Zeus is?
Yes, because then it'll give me time to think.
Okay. So Zeus, also known as Jupiter in the Roman version of the Greek myths, is the king of gods and ruler of Mount Olympus. God of the sky, lightning, thunder, law, order, and justice. I'm going off Wikipedia, y'all, okay? So don't get mad at me if this isn't correct, okay? So, he's the youngest child of the Titans, brother and husband to Hera, and brother of Poseidon, Hades, Demeter, and Hestia. He has had many affairs with goddesses and mortals, such as his sister, Demeter, and Leto, mortals, Leda, and blah blah blah, and more. I don't know why they put this here as if it's important. I mean, he likes to fuck. Let's just be honest. He likes to fuck.
We know this.
Um, his symbols include the thunderbolt, the eagle, the oak tree, the bull, the scepter, and scales. So, god of the sky, lightning, thunder, law, and justice. Likes to fuck.
So, for some reason, two people come to mind with this.
Okay, what is it?
The first person is Jericho,
Oh no.
because, well, that's
Oh
how I feel
no.
about Zeus. So, and also, it's kind of like, I feel like if we're to go off of AEW's Mount Olympus and these are the gods, Jericho is definitely a god of AEW, whether anybody likes it or not, because pretty much AEW's existence hinged on Chris Jericho signing on. So it kind of makes sense he would be the, in quotations, the most important god, but also the god most people absolutely fucking hate.
Okay, what's the second option?
The second option is Kenny Omega because of the aforementioned affairs. This man has so many people in his harem at all times. Like, off the amounts of times he screwed over the Bucks, Zeus. Like, Bucks alone. But then also, Adam Cole, Paige, Rhodes, all of Bullet Club. It just Zeus. And then also God of the Sky, like all the high flying maneuvers. That's just what I think.
Okay. See, I like that. I can see that. I like that better than Jericho. I don't really want to talk about Jericho right now.
That's fair.
that's something we didn't go over. But I don't want to talk about it.
We don't
And I
need
don't
to.
want to I don't want to talk about him. So, I like your second idea better. Also, you could kind of like attribute like one winged angel, angels fly in the sky,
Yeah. Yeah. God of the Sky.
god of the sky. I guess you could go with that. Um, okay, the next one is Hera. So, me personally, I think if we start talking about the women, it'll get confusing. So, I'm fully of the belief that we should just talk about the boys here. Um, because we ship them all together anyway.
Yep.
Um, so, Hera is the queen of the gods and the goddess of marriage, women, childbirth, and family. Youngest daughter of Kronos and Rhea, sister and wife of Zeus. Being the goddess of marriage, she frequently tried to get revenge on Zeus's lovers and their children. Her symbols include the peacock, the cuckoo, and the cow. I have an idea that I would like to put out there.
Hmm.
I think Hera should be Matt Jackson.
Oh, thank God. We were on the same page. Same brain cell. Same brain cell. I was thinking that the whole time. I'm like, Matt Jackson, are you kidding me?
Goddess of marriage,
Bro,
women, childbirth, family.
Right?
Tries to get revenge on Zeus's lovers? That is Matt Jackson to a T! Especially if it's Kenny. If Kenny is his
Especially
Zeus,
if Kenny is Zeus.
ooh,
Especially if
ooh.
Kenny is Zeus.
Ah, yes. I like that. I like that a whole lot better. Let's put a pin in that. I like that. I'm glad we agree on this one. Okay.
Yeah.
The next one
Mhm.
is Poseidon. Okay. God of the seas, water, storms, hurricanes, earthquakes, and horses. The middle son of Kronos and Rhea, brother of Zeus and Hades, married to the Nereid Amphitrite. Although, as with any of the male Greek gods, he had many lovers. His symbols include the trident, the horse, the bull, and dolphin.
I think we're also on the same page with this one.
Yeah. But see, the thing is I also want him to be Hades.
I know. I know.
But
And honestly,
I
that
did, I did headcanon him as Poseidon, uh, a while back when I was writing my pirate AU. I headcanoned that Hangman may possibly uh have powers of the water slash might also be a child of a god, and that god was Poseidon because water and horses. Because one of the big character traits I gave Hangman in my AU was that water calms his anxieties, which is very Poseidon pilled. Like, let me tell you. Um, yeah, like it feels like my brain stole that from like the Percy Jackson movie that came out a while back with Logan Lerman, and I just like in my head I just that's what I attributed to it, even though I wasn't even thinking about that old Percy Jackson at the time. Like this was 2020 when I was doing this AU, and I wasn't even thinking about Percy Jackson, so it was very odd that I added that to his character. Um,
well, that just means he fits.
I mean, it fits. It fits. It all fits. So,
Hmm.
so I suppose Hangman is Poseidon.
Hangman's Poseidon.
Damn.
Hangman's
Okay, this is way too
Poseidon.
easy. Okay. Okay. Next one is Demeter. She's the goddess of the harvest, fertility, agriculture, nature, and the seasons. She presides over the grains and fertility of the earth. She's the middle daughter of Kronos and Rhea, also the lover of Zeus and Poseidon, and the mother of Persephone, uh, and two other names that I can't say. Her symbols include the poppy, wheat, torch, cornucopia, and pig.
I think
Fertility.
there's a clear-cut answer here.
Is there? I don't know. What's the answer?
Danielson.
Brian Danielson?
Yes.
You think so? Fertility of the earth. Yeah.
Mr. Have
Oh,
I ever
yeah.
fucked a vegetable? The long answer is no. The short answer is yes.
Mr. Tree Seaman? Yeah. I see
Yeah.
that. Yeah. You're right.
Mr. I grow my own vegetables.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Yes. See, now this is gonna get difficult because we have to figure out who his Persephone is, who his daughter is. Well,
There's a
actually, we
few who
don't.
could be.
We don't because she's not on this list technically. But we can
Okay.
go get that. We can get back to her. Okay,
Mhm.
we can do that. We can, that can be a little bonus. Okay. Okay. Next up is Apollo, which is hilarious because I'm looking at. Okay, so it gives you the Greek aspect, and then it gives you the Roman counterpart. All of them have different names except Apollo. Apollo is Apollo both times.
Sick.
That is so funny. Okay, so Apollo is the god of the sun, light, prophecy, philosophy, archery, truth, inspiration, poetry, music, arts, manly beauty, medicine, healing, and plague. The son of Zeus and Leto, and the twin brother of Artemis. His symbols include bow and arrow, lyre, raven, swan, and wolf.
Jack Perry.
Really?
I think
Why
so.
is that?
I want to say, like, the god of the sun. I just, I always feel like there's always been just this kind of, like, metaphorical light that's been cast on him. Um, like like him being just a beacon of, like, just, like, good. Even after his heel turn, I feel like there's just this certain aura about him that's like, um, just like light airiness. That's just kind of what he gives off to me. Like there's nothing super, I guess, heavy about him. Like things are very simple and clear cut. And then of course male beauty, poetry, music. He just kind of he gives off those light and airy things that make you feel good. Jack Perry makes you feel good.
You know what's funny? Every
Hmm.
time that every time that like a modern author writes Apollo, like as a character in stories, he's always an arrogant prick. So that could fit into the mold of Jungle Boy being the heel now, an arrogant
Yeah.
prick. Wears sunglasses and shit, stuff like that. Um, so that could work. Um, I don't know that like I don't know that he inspires the arts. Actually, that's a lie. That's a lie because I have a friend who's been writing buco fanfic about Jack Perry. Let me tell you. And so maybe he is an inspiration for the arts because she writes so much fanfic for Jack Perry, and it is all very good. So
Shout out to
perhaps
her.
shout out to her. Okay. So that'll work for now. The next one is his sister, Artemis, goddess of the hunt, the wilderness, virginity, the moon, archery, childbirth, protection, and also plague. The daughter of Zeus and Leto and twin sister of Apollo. Her symbols include the moon, horse, deer, hound, she bear, snake, cypress tree, and bow and arrow. Very similar to Apollo, but um, rather than more like artistic aspects, hers is nature, nature aspects.
My first instinct was to say Hook, but
That
I
was my
feel like I
instinct
can
too.
come up with someone better. I think Hook fits though.
Oh, Artemis also, if I remember correctly, can't, not can't, but decided to become celibate. So
Yes.
she does not have children. Chooses not to, and chooses not to lie with men. Um,
I was about to say same, but that's a goddamn lie.
I don't know. It's odd. I still want to say
Yeah.
Hook.
Yeah, I want to say Hook.
If
Or you
only
know who
because,
else? Maybe Yuta. Maybe Yuta could be Artemis.
yeah, that's a good one.
That's a hard one. What do we think? Hook or Yuta?
I'm not sure because, see, in my head, Artemis is a standoffish person.
That's true.
And
Well, that's kind of no, that's more so Hook than it is Yuta.
yeah, okay, in Percy Jackson, she don't like nobody. She don't like nobody except her handmaidens, who are the hunters, and they're all young women, you know. and they've all been blessed with immortality, etc., etc. That's one of the blessings that they have because she asked them to become, you know, part of her little group. So she has a group of people that she likes. Okay, people that she takes care of, people that take care of her. But she's standoffish from everybody else. So in that respect, I would say that'd be more of a Hook thing, and Hook already doesn't like uh, Jack Perry. Okay, and
Yeah.
there's always been this conflict between Apollo and Artemis, even though they're twins, you know. So maybe, perhaps.
Yeah. I think, yeah, we can go for Hook.
Okay, next one. This is the one we already had a conversation about.
Oh, yay.
Ares, god of war. So here it says God of war, violence, bloodshed, and manly virtues. The son of Zeus and Hera, all the other gods despised him except Aphrodite. His Latin name Mars gave us the word martial. His symbols include the boar, the serpent, the dog, vulture, spear, and shield.
You originally put John Moxley in this category. I
I
actually think
did.
this fits Swerve.
Okay. That's not what you
I
said
feel
before, though.
No, I said I didn't put anybody in the Aries
Oh, you
category.
didn't. You didn't.
I
You
just
didn't.
put someone else in the Hephaestus category.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
So,
feel
Swerve.
like, yeah,
Okay. I'm
I just,
listening.
because it's like, it's all his talk about, like, I have no regard for human life. Like, Ares is one of the most notorious gods for using and abusing his children or just flat out ignoring them. Um, he wants to cause as much war as possible. He wants to experience as much fighting as possible. Um, and he's overall kind of the worst.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. I feel like if anybody in AEW represents like just the fire of pure unadulterated need to fight and like just end people is definitely Swerve.
That's fair. Except that worries me about as we get closer and closer to different Greek gods and goddesses, I'm thinking in my head that Hangman could be like five of them.
I understand. He does fit a lot of them actually.
Okay, so we got Swerve for Ares. I like that.
Mhm.
That makes sense. I know there's probably somebody who's asking, but Big Cope is literally already Ares. And to
He
that I
is.
say, and to that I say, I do not care.
Our podcast, not yours.
Our podcast. Okay? He's already Ares in a different AU, okay? He can be Ares over there. In our AU, he is not Ares. Okay. So the next one is Athena. So, goddess of wisdom, handicraft, and warfare. The daughter of Zeus and the Oceanid Metis, she rose from her father's head fully grown and in full battle armor. That is so fucking cool, man. That is so fucking cool.
That is
Her
hard.
symbols her symbols include the owl and the olive tree. So she was not born of him and any other person. She is literally a thought plucked out of his head and became a goddess, which is so cool. And I think that that should be like somebody really, really, really cool from the roster.
The person that I think of most when I think of Athena is Adam Cole. Like just like the mind
Wisdom?
games alone. Yes. And it's like it's wisdom about warfare.
Okay.
Who else is better at psychological warfare?
Fair enough.
But also, I do feel like it could be somebody else. Adam Cole is just who I thought of first. Um,
You're gonna laugh at me.
hmm, who is it?
Bro on God. Why am I thinking Nick Jackson? Why? Why
I
am I
did think of
thinking
Nick
Nick
Jackson as
Jackson?
well
Why though? Is it
because
because I
it's
don't believe that he came from a womb?
he was not he spawned in. He was not birthed. He spawned in.
That's what I'm saying. That man didn't come out of no womb.
Yeah, but I think of Nick as a different god, but he could work as Athena, but also just to be like semi-lazy. I also think Athena should just be Athena
Oh,
because she's cool enough to be Athena. But we were
he
just
is.
talking about the men's roster. We can do another one with the women's roster later.
Yeah. Um.
Should we just make it Nick Jackson for Athena then, since we're both thinking it?
Yeah. I mean, we're both thinking it. It's because, like, I think because he is so smart, right? Like when it comes to
He is, yeah.
when it comes to the
He's
ring,
the
like people say that he's like so smart when it comes to stuff like that, right? And I guess you could if you take it as their battleground is the ring, then Nick Jackson would be a fucking ring general, right?
in
Like
general.
and Athena is the general of Zeus's armies. I mean,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I think that's a good one. I
Yeah.
have rationalized and justified it in my head. I like Nick Jackson as that. I think he's a freak and was definitely born of a thought. So I like that. I like that a lot
Yep.
actually. Yep. I'm doing it. Yep.
Nick Athena it is.
Okay. Okay. Here we go. Hephaestus.
Here we go.
Master blacksmith and craftsman of the gods, god of the forge, craftsmanship, invention, fire, and volcanoes. The son of Hera, either by Zeus or through parthenogenesis, married to Aphrodite. His Latin name Vulcan gave us the word volcano. His symbols include fire, anvil, axe, donkey, hammer, tongs, and quail.
So I thought when Emmy said John Moxley was Ares, I raised to her that John Moxley is actually Hephaestus because of his penchant for creating the most ass backwards, insane looking weapons of war when it comes to pro wrestling. And also, I just thought of this the weapons maker of the gods, he was the one who handed. No, no, no. I'm thinking of something different, actually. He was the one who brought in the barbed wire bat to AEW, inspiring Kenny Omega to bring in a barbed wire broom. He may not have been the one to make the weapon, but he inspired it.
That's fair.
Mhm.
Yeah, I liked it. You sold me on that when we were talking about it
Yeah.
before.
He's just he if anybody I think making the weapons is what Mox enjoys about a death match the most. Truly.
Yeah. I would argue that Charlie's the one who makes the weapons, but I'm pretty sure
Charlie is the one who
Mox gets in
officially makes the weapons because Mox simply isn't allowed to because he doesn't have a license, and
there.
no one should give him one.
I don't know how
But
true that
yeah,
is, but I don't know enough to dispute it.
I assume as a prop maker, you have to be hired and licensed for it if you're going to make things that are like because like when Matt did the fire spot, the sparkler spot with his shoe, he had to be licensed and permitted to be able to do it. I assume that's the route you have to go with any type of explosive or like sharp prop that you have to do. Like it's essentially like you have to be a designated person to create and sign off on something that's safe enough to be used to look like it causes harm. Like, they don't let just anybody make prop guns.
Mhm. Right, of course. That makes sense. Yeah. I like Mox for Hephaestus.
Yeah. It fits, man.
I like that. Okay, next is his wife, uh, Aphrodite. So, goddess of love, pleasure, passion, procreation, fertility, beauty, and desire. The daughter of Zeus in the Oceanid or Titaness Dione, or perhaps born from the sea foam after Uranus's blood dripped into the sea after being castrated by his youngest son Cronus, who then threw his father's genitals into the sea. Uh, Married to Hephaestus, although she had many adulterous affairs, most notably with Ares. Her name gave us the word aphrodisiac, while her Latin name Venus gave us the word venereal. Her symbols include the dove, the bird, apple, bee, swan, myrtle, and rose. So
Had
this is
Matt
what.
Jackson not been Hera, he would have been Aphrodite. But he is Hera, so we must move on.
So this was also me, except it was me with Hangman.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I would I would probably put Hangman here if we hadn't already decided he was Poseidon. because
Personally,
because married to Hephaestus and having an affair with Ares, that's big Mox
mm,
and big Swerve.
it's not stupid if it fits.
um, but yeah, who so
Honestly,
who could this be?
I'm thinking honestly, I'm thinking Ricky Starks.
Okay,
I'm thinking like when he hit the scene, his nickname was literally Pretty Ricky. Like,
right.
and he's a very like pompous person, always dressing very nicely. Um, Not necessarily so much, well, you could honestly very much read what he does in the ring is seducing people. I can't think of
The look on my face is the little uh colon 3 face, like the little cat. I'm just like,
Mhm.
what? My little cat ear headphones aren't helping. I'm a little confused. Um, I don't feel that way about Ricky, so it's hard for me to say. Um,
I feel like
see,
Ricky fits like the image of like love and beauty because he focuses a lot on like his beauty, his sexuality, his he focuses a lot on his image. Um, I can't really think of anybody else who does that like him besides Matt Jackson or Hangman Adam Page. Um, or maybe could Adam Cole go in there?
I was thinking that. Okay. That's why I was like over here, like, because in my head I kept going Cole, Cole, Cole. I
Why? Okay.
like the idea of Cole because um Cole molds himself to be what you want him to be.
Ah,
And
you're right.
and then like destroys your little heart afterwards. I would
Yeah.
consider Aphrodite to be a heartbreaker. There's no way you're the goddess of love and you're not a heartbreaker. Um, she frequently is unfaithful to her husband, and um, that's something that Cole does. Is he like attaches himself to someone and then he is frequently unfaithful? Um,
Man
you
eater.
know, that's what. Yeah, I'm saying man eater. I feel like that
Yeah,
fits. And since we didn't put Cole
you're right.
as Athena, it only seems fair that we put him for Aphrodite.
Yeah.
You know, because I like to think that Matt Jackson is still always loyal to the person that he's married to.
That's
Ergo,
true.
Kenny. Um,
Yeah.
whereas Aphrodite is less so. Um, I also think it's funny because didn't Mox and also maybe Eddie both say something like, I don't know whether to. What do you say? What they say? You
I
know the
don't know
line.
whether to I don't know whether to punch this guy in the face or take him on a date. He's too pretty.
Right. So this has been said about Adam Cole
You're
by
so right.
multiple men. So it's only fair that I think that we attribute his beauty to being Aphrodite.
That's fair. You won me over. I talked you
Yeah.
into it.
I talked you into it. Yeah. I like that one. Okay. Next one is Hermes, a messenger of the gods, god of travel, commerce, communication, borders, eloquence, diplomacy, thieves, and games. He was also the guide of dead souls. He is the son of Zeus and the nymph Maia, the second youngest Olympian, just older than Dionysus. His symbols include the caduceus, which is the staff entwined with two snakes, winged sandals and cap, stork, and tortoise, whose shell he used to invent the lyre. What do you think? God of travel and commerce, communication, eloquence, diplomacy, thieves, games, guide of dead souls.
I don't think you're gonna agree with me on this. You either won't agree with me on this one or you will wholeheartedly agree with me on this one. But MJF. I can see the wheels turning. What are you thinking?
See, the thing is that I've looked at this list already, and there's somebody on this list who I think may fit him a little more. Might fit MJF more, but
Okay.
you're kind of selling me on it because mine is a little it's like very specific toward one attribute of this person. To whereas yours I think that fits cuz
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I can see that. I feel like it could be
Yeah. Because
somebody
it's like
else too.
communication, eloquence, travel, thieves, guiding dead souls, all the devil shit. Um, yeah, I feel like that's all encompassing of MJF's character.
Wait, what the fuck? Oh, I keep forgetting Hades isn't an Olympian god because he doesn't
He's not?
reside
Oh
on
yeah,
Mount
of course
he
not. Of
doesn't
course not.
reside on Mount Olympus.
I'm like that is a duh. But it's like of course you think of him as one because he's part of the big 3.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, MJF, Hermes. Yeah, okay, I'll allow it.
Yay.
I'll allow it. Yeah.
I did it.
Yay. Okay, and then here at the bottom, it kind of says something about it. Most of the 12 Olympians, quote unquote, will either pick and choose between these two. So I think we should just do them both and then also do Hades. What do you think? Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So the first one is Hestia. She is the goddess of the hearth, fire, and the right ordering of domesticity and the family. She was born into the first Olympian generation and was one of the original 12 Olympians. She is the first child of Kronos and Rhea, the elder sister of Hades, Demeter, Poseidon, Hera, and Zeus. I have a thought,
Mhm.
and I don't know if you'll agree.
Hmm.
Um, Claudio?
He did cross my mind, but I don't really think that he fits. Why do you think he fits though?
Um, the part about the right ordering of domesticity in the family. I feel like he's the one who keeps things together in terms of like, you know how Mox was having trouble with Eddie and also having trouble with Brian, and like
Yeah.
shit was going down around them, and Claudia was the only one over there taking care of the child.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like he's like he's the stable hand in the entire group. I think that he, even though he's not like the mother or whatever, he is the home. He's the one who makes things homey. He's the one that everyone probably looks to whenever they're sad, or when things are going wrong. You can turn to the fire, to the hearth of the home, and will and it will be there to comfort and guide you and take care of you. What do you think?
You won me over. I like it.
That makes sense, right? That makes sense. And
Yep.
also like not just that, but also fire. Like I think he's got a little something there, I think
Yeah.
he's got it. So, okay.
A little spark in him.
Yeah. Just enough, which is all you need for the
Mhm.
hearth, to keep it aflame. Um, which is literally a thing that happens at the end of book 5.
I know. I was there.
I know. Sorry, I'm having fun. I enjoyed Percy Jackson a lot.
They're great books. They're so good.
um, okay. Last one on this list, the one that like they put back and forth, not sure whether to put Hestia or Dionysus. Um, Dionysus, god of wine, grapevine, fertility, festivity, ecstasy, madness, and resurrection. Patron god of the art of theater. The son of Zeus and the mortal Theban princess Semele. I don't know how to say that. I hope I said it right. Married to the Cretan princess Ariadne, the youngest Olympian god, as well as the only one to have a mortal parent. His symbols include the grapevine, ivy, cup, tiger, panther, leopard, dolphin, goat, and pineco. Hmm.
Okay. I have a thought that I think subverts expectation on what
Okay.
Dionysus is like stereotypically like.
Okay.
I'm thinking Orange Cassidy.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm thinking
No,
orange
it's perfect. It's perfect. I
because
love
I
it.
think because he gives off the energy of a man who has partied far too hard, and he's just like he's at the point where he's hungover,
Perpetual
he's
hangover.
sloshed. Yes, and then like also the theater aspect is just, I mean, look at him. Watch what he does. Like,
It's a man who can tell a story. I
oh yeah.
know most people are always like, but what story is it? And why does it suck? But he's telling you one. No, I think when he chooses to finally tell you a story, he tells you the story.
Oh yeah.
I think sometimes he does go into these moments of now I'm just doing shit to do shit because I want to come to work and wrestle. But wrestle. But um I think for the most part he can tell you a story when he chooses to. you know. Um, and you have the perpetual hangover part like completely down. Like that's a perfect description of what he looks like every day.
Mhm.
I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
Yay.
That's perfect. Genuinely perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
so it doesn't have a description here for Hades because it doesn't count him as one of the 12 Olympians, but his name is over here because it's got a genealogy chart. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
click on him.
Nice.
Okay. Da-da-da-da. There's a lot more here to say for Hades because it's a full article. Um, so Hades is the god of the dead and king of the underworld, with which his name became synonymous. Hades is the eldest son of Kronos and Rhea, although this also made him the last son to be regurgitated by his father. So I believe Kronos ate his children, right?
Yep.
Right? Yeah, he ate his children, and then
Yep.
had to force them back up. Um, so because he was eldest, he went in first and came in out last. Okay, fair enough. Um, so he and his brothers Zeus and Poseidon defeated their father's generation of gods, the Titans, and claimed joint rulership over the cosmos. Hades received the underworld, Zeus the sky, Poseidon the sea, with the solid earth available to all three concurrently. He is typically portrayed holding a bident, wearing his helm, with Cerberus, the three-headed guard dog of the underworld, standing at his side. The origin of Hades' name is uncertain, but generally seen as meaning the unseen one. Interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a thought.
Okay.
I want to say Jay White.
I totally get it
Yeah.
because I said this a couple of days ago, I think, on Twitter, and I was like, I normally see Hades as somebody looking more like Jay White.
Right? Because and not so Jay White not only like seen as like I like to think of it as kind of like given the underworld after his two younger brothers were the ones to defeat Kronos' generation of gods, Kenny and Hangman, and then left for Mount Olympus, AEW. He was given the underworld, New Japan,
Japan. I love it. Oh my god.
and the
That's
three-headed
perfect.
dog, and the three-headed dog,
Is
the
is
guns, and Juice.
oh my god.
Yeah,
I
he's
love
Hades.
that. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. And that makes sense, you know. And it feels like he gets slighted quite a bit
He
by
does.
everyone else, doesn't he?
Yeah, simply
Even though
because he wasn't regurgitated at the same time as Kenny or Hangman. He's the forgotten one.
I love that. That's so good.
Mhm.
It's so good. I love that.
We
Should we just do a Persephone for the fuck of it, or what do you think?
can figure out a Persephone. Let's see.
Okay. See, I'm looking. I'm looking. Oh, I might have to look this up because she's not showing up over here. Oh, here it is. Okay. Uh, okay. Daughter of Zeus and Demeter, she became the queen of the underworld, and after her abduction by and marriage to her uncle Hades, the king of the underworld. Myth of her abduction and her sojourn in the underworld and her temporary return to the surface represents her functions as the embodiment of spring and personification of vegetation, which disappear into the earth when sown, sprout from the earth in spring, harvested when fully grown. Uh, a vegetation
So,
goddess. Her mother is Demeter. Okay, say it again.
because of the mother is Demeter thing, who I think of to be Persephone is Danny. Like, just like because Brian is Demeter, I just think son is daughter would be Danny. But then I'm
Okay.
trying to think, how does that fit with Jay?
Maybe we're onto something that we just haven't seen yet.
Maybe, maybe we're just a few months ahead of Tony Khan
No,
here.
what? Maybe we're a couple years ahead of Tony Khan over here. What if
Maybe.
by the time Danny figures out who he is, what if Jay White has become just, you know, this complete monster of a heel? He already is, mind you. But I mean, like within
Worse.
AEW,
Yeah.
within AEW, and one day somebody ends up on his doorstep, and it happens to be Danny Garcia, and Danny Garcia ends up being like, I don't know, like important to him in some way, shape, or form. I'm thinking like Adam Square lines, like this could be a feud that we don't even know is gonna be amazing yet. You see what I'm saying?
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
You picking up what I'm putting down? We don't know. Maybe we're just miles ahead over here.
We're just the prophets.
Exactly. I like that. We've gotten quite a bit.
Yeah,
I'm happy. I'm happy with our choices. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like it.
I dig it too. Yeah. Matt Jackson as Hera is just perfect to me.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I really love the loyal to who she married, but gets revenge on all other lovers and children. Like, dog. That's so Matt Jackson. That's so Matt Jackson.
Oh yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna click on something real quick. What does it mean? Oblivion. I'm looking at a goddess Leto because that's somebody that Zeus had children with. And I'm sitting here trying to figure out if I can put Kota Ibushi in this shit.
Ooh.
I don't know. I don't know that it fits. But no, I don't think it fits. Maybe next time, Ibushi.
Next time.
I miss Kota.
Yeah.
I hope he's okay.
We'll find a god or goddess for you, Ibushi.
Yeah. He could have been Aphrodite.
Possibly. Well, honestly, because of Ibushi's um ascent to godhood back in New Japan in like 2020, I think he works more as like a singular god, like a monotheistic god, more than
Fair enough.
a set of gods and goddesses.
Yeah, that could work. I was trying not to go too deep into like different mythologies,
Yeah.
or different religions. But yeah, maybe so. Maybe so.
Perhaps.
Perhaps. Shall we wrap this up?
I think so.
All right then. Well, I didn't write down the outro. Oh shit,
All
bro!
right.
It's been 4 hours, dog. We did it again. Fuck.
This is what happens when we don't podcast for 2 months. We have two episodes in one. But
I
yeah.
know. It's fine.
All right.
Okay.
So, we hope you enjoyed this latest episode of your Emotional Support Wrestling podcast. You can find us on Twitter at ES Wrestling Pod, on Blue Sky at ES Wrestling Pod, on Tumblr at Emotional Support Wrestling, and please, I beg of you, I am asking, feel free to send us an email at eswrestlingpod@gmail.com. And we will see you next time. Bye.